What's going on, boys? Welcome back to another episode of MIGHTYcast, and I'm joined by he's been on a tear in the boxing scene, and he was also on a tear in mixed martial arts. Help me welcome in Darren Till. Darren, how you doing today, brother?
How you doing, champ? You okay?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I like the outfit you got on right now. You cutting some weight. What's going on? You got the blue. It looks like you trying to lose some weight. What's going on?
No, I'm having a bit of a nightmare. So I've come to Brazil to see my daughter, and they lost our luggage in São Paulo. So we're sort of just having to go out every day and buy new clothes. So I'm just in this attire now. So yeah.
How's Brazil? You're visiting your daughter out there. I saw a video of you guys being reunited. That's amazing.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. Like Brazil's got a place in my heart forever. It's one of the best countries. I don't even call it a country. It's a continent. Like it's so big. Yeah, she lives here with her mother. She's 11 now. So obviously try to get out as much as I can to see her sometimes, not possible because work is different and stuff. But yeah, it's just been good reuniting with her and obviously seeing some old friends and stuff like that. It's just, Brazil's just, it's just the best place on earth, honestly.
Do you speak Portuguese?
Yeah, fluent.
How long did it take you to learn how to speak it?
So when I got to Brazil in 2013, obviously I met the mother of my daughter now. Like the first 2 months she was working at the gym we were training at. So I think legitimately, as soon as I started learning it, it took me, I mean, it sounds crazy, it took me 5 months to I'm self-taught, so it took me like 5 months to start like speaking it. And then obviously along the way, after the 5 months, like the slang and stuff, like I really wanted to learn the slang and stuff like that because of the favelas. They have their own language, like sort of everyone else does in every part of the world. So that was like my big thing. And also I made a challenge with myself to try and speak it as perfect as possible, like the accent, so that people wouldn't know I was a gringo. And I do have to say I'm fucking amazing at speaking Portuguese, like I do have to say.
And they're able so you already have an accent from from your originally from
Liverpool, yeah.
Yeah, and then you try to match their accent with you can blend in essentially.
Yeah. That was basically because a lot of times in Brazil as well, I know a lot about the history of Brazil and stuff like that, and a lot about, even when I was living here years ago, like I got heavily into the politics. I was just really interested. So like a lot of small towns in Brazil, it's very rare for them to see like foreigners, like especially me, blue eyes and stuff like that. So they'd like stare at you. So I was like, I need to blend in as much as possible here so that they don't even know I'm a gringo. And some girls actually before just took my daughter out to buy some clothes, and they were like, oh yeah, because I'm with my girlfriend as well. And they were like, oh yeah, you live here. Is she from England? I went, no, I'm from England as well. And they were like, what? And I was like, yes, challenge. Like I've done it, I've completed it. If they don't think I'm a gringo. So yeah.
Well, it's funny because my professor, when he goes back home to Brazil, he has fair skin, but he's Brazilian. So sometimes like when he's when they look at him, they're like, oh, he's a gringo. But then once he speaks, oh, okay, he's Brazilian because he doesn't have like darker skin or whatever. So it's funny when you said gringo because he always says
the north and south as well, DJ. So the north and south, it's very interesting. So the south of Brazil, they're all very light skinned and blue eyes, and that's because I think it's in the Second World War, if I'm not mistaken, a lot of like the Germans and like Italians emigrated to Brazil. So obviously they all lived there years ago. So then obviously when they've made children, stuff like that, they haven't come out like the North people who are more like darker. They've come out like fair skin, blue eyes, stuff like that. Oh, it's amazing.
Damn, I just got a history lesson of Brazil. That's what's up.
Yeah. I'm not as stupid as I look, DJ.
Well, hey, I didn't put that out there. A
lot of people do. A lot of people say that until he's stupid. I'm not that stupid. I've got a little bit of a brain about me.
Okay, well, let's go to the beginning. I think the first time people saw you fight was in mixed martial arts. What was your upbringing? Because I was looking at something and you said you have 45 kickboxing fights, right? You amassed a kickbox record of 44-0. Talk to me about the beginning of your stages.
That's incorrect, DJ. That's incorrect. I had about 35 fights, and I lost about 4. I lost 2 in Thailand, 1 in Canada for a world title, and I think my other loss was, I'm trying to remember, right, where's my other loss? I can't remember where the other loss was, but yeah, that's not right. I had about 35 fights and 4 losses, so that's an incorrect record. But it's still a good record because I did fight at like quite a high level in Muay Thai as well.
Yeah. Was your introduction into combat Muay Thai kickboxing, or what was it? Like usually for me, it was wrestling. That's what got me into
Yeah,
mixed
yeah,
martial arts. When I was in high school, it was wrestling. So what was it for you?
for me, it was like, yeah, boxing, Muay Thai. It was like slash Muay Thai slash boxing. Obviously, went down the Muay Thai route. So that was like obviously my home. The way your home's wrestling, my home was obviously striking Muay Thai.
Okay, and then once you got into that, what made you transition to mixed martial arts? Because I felt that's when the first time I got introduction to you was when you came to the UFC. You're knocking people out. You had very colorful post fight. I'm not scared of anybody. I'll beat anybody up. Like that's when the first time I saw you fight. So what got you into mixed martial arts?
I think again, collectively, when I looked back at Muay Thai, I was obviously like, "Can you make a career out of this?" I was like, "There doesn't," because there was no ONE FC back then and stuff like that. So I was like, "Is there money to be made?" Like, because on the Muay Thai circuit in England, that like TV wasn't getting pumped, like there wasn't pumping money into. So I was like, maybe this is a bit of a dead sport. And obviously, Muay Thai is a brutal sport as well. Like, so I was like, I don't know. And then obviously, I come across, the MMA gym, which is Team Carbon at the time, which they had like, I think at one point they had 8 UFC fighters fighting out the gym. They were prolific back in the day. So I was like, okay, let's try my hand at this, see what's what. And obviously then that's just like everyone else, just fell in love with the aspect of you can lose any which way, you can win any which way. It's just so like, there's so mind boggling how much you can learn in MMA, especially.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so you kind of fell into it, but you were successful. So if there was ONE FC, would you have never jumped into mixed martial arts? Would you kept going into MMA? Oh, excuse me, would you kept staying in Muay Thai? Because when you said, can I make a career in it? Dana White came out and said today that there's no career in mixed martial arts. It's an opportunity to be able to fight in mixed martial arts. What's your thoughts on that? Because when you said that, I disagree with Dana White. I think you can make a career out of mixed martial arts, right? You should be able to, but that kind of, a light bulb went off in my head because I read that story today. You said, can I make a career in mixed martial arts, or can I make a career in Muay Thai?
Yeah, I think it was a bit of both, DJ. Obviously, we all set out and we all like, we want to be the best. I mean, obviously, you've got to be top 5 of all time, definitely, when it comes down to accolades and skills. But I think obviously we've all got that mentality, and then obviously sometimes reality sets in, especially for me at such a young age. I was obviously living in the favelas of Brazil, and obviously, my ex-girlfriend got pregnant early. I was only like 20, you know what I mean? DJ was like, oh, hang on, this can't just be fun now. I need to actually make a career. So obviously, I do disagree with Dana. I think you definitely can make a career out of like mixed martial arts. Like, you can make a lot of money. But obviously, you need the right people and you need to be smart as well. But yeah, for me, Muay Thai, it was a bit like, £300 a fight and stuff. I was like, what can I do with this? And obviously, then it's like, well, what other skills do you have? Like for me, I got kicked out of school at a young age. So I was like, well, is it to the streets? Is it this, that? So when I think back, I think it was a bit of both for me. Like, nowadays you've fought in one and stuff, you can make a massive career out of like K1, Muay Thai with the little gloves and stuff like that. But it was very different back then. But yeah, I don't know. I suppose I have to disagree with Dana as well. Like if you, it's mad with the UFC because I know there's this ongoing debate about fighter pay and stuff like that. And I'm like on the fence. I mean, you go to the institute and it's amazing and you can get looked after there. But when it comes down to it, essentially, I don't like seeing guys who've retired at like 31, 32 and like they still having to like sort of scrounge and scrimp for like money. And that's sad because at the end of the day, MMA is such a hard sport. And not many make it out alive on the other side where they can just retire and relax. So it's quite sad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's 2 things I'm going to go over here. What got you? Why are you in Brazil before? Like you grew up in England, right? Like, help me out.
Yeah.
Paint the story. How does somebody get to Brazil when you're not Brazilian? Like you went over there to train, but what took you over to Brazil to train? Were you not having good enough training in England, or how did you get to Brazil?
No, so obviously Team Carbon, obviously world famous, especially your fame. Like we had millions, like 8 UFC fights currently. The training was phenomenal back then. It was the best gym in Europe. I mean, now obviously it's finished and there's other gyms come up, but it was phenomenal. But obviously, DJ, at the time, I don't like to paint I want to paint like a correct picture. I was in the gym. And I remember at the time vividly, I was on a police monitor. So like I had a police monitor on my ankle. So I could only train in the mornings. I couldn't train in the night because I had to be back at home at 7 o'clock. So that was obviously a thing. And obviously I was still probably being like, I want to say a little shit on the streets. Like I was probably still up to like no good. Not like nothing bad, but I was still trying to make a pound coin and stuff like that. And my coach knew all about that. And then obviously I ended up in this is like famous. I know a lot of people know this, but obviously there's a lot of people that don't. I ended up in an altercation one night on a night out. You know, me and a few friends ended up fighting with these other guys and whatnot. And this guy stabbed me twice, DJ, in my ribs. So like, obviously.
Damn.
Yeah, he stabbed me, and as the doctor tells me after it, you know, it was that much away from my artery, whereas if it hits your artery, you know, you bleed out. So I was obviously one of the lucky ones, you know, thank God and stuff like that. But after that, it was in my mind, you know, I'm one of them. I haven't really given a shit. And then when I got to the first place I went to after the hospital was the gym to see me coach and see like all the UFC fighters in there, like you know them, Tate and Paul Kelly and stuff like that. And my coach just had like a hard word with me, and even my friend Paul Kelly did. My coach was just like, son, like, come on, like, really? He's like, I ain't seen a talent like yours. Like, he's like, all you need, you get a bit of rest on your background. He's like, you can really make this. And I was like, what are you doing? He's like, you just acting like a fucking idiot. And I was like, he was like, look, we've got an affiliate gym in Brazil, which I knew at the time was Marcelo Brigadeiro. You know, famous in luta livre, you know, black belts, won a lot of tournaments, stuff like that. He's like, why don't you just go over there, son, and just have a little go of it from there, you know, stay in touch with me and stuff like that. And I was like, really? And he was like, yeah. And at the time, DJ, obviously, I wasn't living like at home with my parents and stuff like that. They'd split and I wasn't seeing my mother and father as much. And so there wasn't nothing really to stay for. I never, like, I wouldn't go out that much, even though I got stabbed in the club, and like girls and stuff and that weren't a big part of me. I was always just solely focused on sales. So I was just like, fuck it, what have I got to lose? And I know I'm a survivor, so I just picked up a little bit of money that I had, got a one-way flight there. And actually, funny story, the night before I was flying, I got into another altercation. So I turned up in Brazil, right? I turned up to Brazil with 2 black eyes and like scar wounds all over my face. And my coach over in Brazil was like, are you okay? He was like, are you mentally well? I was like, nah, not really, but come on, I'm here now. So obviously got to Brazil, you know, first, like, obviously, as I said, I've just spoke the story, first few months, I got thrown in at the deep end, like favelas, you're talking 20, 30 black belts on the mat at a time. And I'd only just transitioned to MMA, so this was all new. Like, these guys were just giving me hell on earth. Like, they wouldn't stand with me, obviously, because, you know, my striking was obviously high level even at that time. So it was like, just throw him in at the deep end. And I was like, it was proper do or die back then. I was like, okay, I'm in a country, everyone's chatting Portuguese all around me, I haven't got a clue what they're saying. I feel like everyone's taking the piss. I'm like, I've been thrown in with all these kids. You know what it's like in Brazil. There's just 20 black belts in any gym you walk into at any time, any given time. So I was like, oh, this is a lot. So I got me shit in order. I was only meant to stay for 6 months. And obviously the reason I did stay was when me now ex-girlfriend, you know, was like, look, I'm pregnant. Like, I know you've got to go back home, but what is it? And I was like, look, I'm a man, like, we're raising this baby, right, and stuff. But obviously, I didn't have a job at the time, DJ, so then I had to go out other than training because I had no money. And obviously, the only speciality I had was Muay Thai. So I thought, well, I can teach Muay Thai here and make a living from it, like teach PTs, private lessons, and obviously start teaching in the gym. I spoke to my coach. So I made a bit of a like career out of that just to get obviously the money and to be able to make it to the UFC. So 6 months went from 6 months to 4 years. And in that time, you know, obviously raised my now daughter Bella, she's 11, learned the language of Portuguese, you know, got myself a home here. In 2015, made it to the UFC, signed my contract. So I'd done everything I said I was going to do and more.
Gotcha. Sorry, I was mesmerized by the story because I didn't know. I was going to ask, like, when did you get stabbed? Was that part of the UFC? So that was all prior to you getting to the UFC. But you had a long journey to get yourself to Brazil. Then you finally get the contract. You sign in 2015. So you're about what, 27? Because you're 32 now.
No. So I got to Brazil when I was just turned 20. So I think when I got to the UFC, I think I was around 23, something like that. And obviously my two fights prior to signing the contract with the UFC, because they already had their eye on me, I knew, because my coach was also my manager at the time, Marcelo. And I fought in Argentina, Buenos Aires, against a guy, Cuban. He fought in the Olympics, actually, a Cuban wrestler. He was phenomenal. That's what I mean when people joke on that about my takedown defense these days. I could take that. I had takedown defense back then, but I fought him, beat him on unanimous decision. And I had a 5-5 fight for the belt in one of the organisations here. Knocked the guy out in the 3rd round, and that's when the UFC gave me the call. But I was actually that was like 3 days after my fight, and the UFC was like 2 weeks after, and that's when I got like the short notice call, because obviously there was a pullout, and they were like, look, we've been had our eye on Darren, is he ready? Welterweight, stuff like that. He's going to take on can't remember the guy's name, Wendell Oliveira, and I was like, yeah, sweet, like, come on, let's do it. And I remember, funny story, actually, when they signed me, we were fighting in the north of Brazil, and I remember when I walked out, all the Brazilians were like, "Ooh, vai morrer," and I was thinking, hang on, you cheeky I'm fucking from this country, like, you don't know. So I thought, when I knock this out now, I'm gonna get on this mic and just fucking show you what time it is. Like, what? Saying that to me. So I remember when I knocked the guy out in the second round with elbows, like, the translator come over and I went, whoa, stop there, you. Got the mic, and I was like, don't you be booing me. I was like, I'm from this country. I was like, I've got a daughter who's Brazilian. I said, I'm half Brazilian. Don't you start booing me. And I remember the whole crowd just looking at each other like, what is going on here? Is he speaking Portuguese? And after, like, it sort of blew. And I think the UFC were also obviously rubbing the hands there. They were like, oh, we found a new star here and stuff like that. So,
that's just... Wow, that is crazy. So when you got in UFC, you're super young. You're like 20, 21, you said?
Yeah, it's like 23, like young 23, yeah.
Okay, yeah, see, like nowadays, I feel like it's very typical to see guys come to the UFC or in the sport of mixed martial arts at a very young age, because you start doing it when you're young, right? But I felt like back in 2011, like I got into UFC till I was like 26, 27. It's very rare to find guys who have a great record in the UFC that are young. So you get in the UFC, you go on a tear, right? You go on a tear, and then eventually, I want to talk about, like, you had, you lost 2-1, then you won 1, then you went on a 3 losing streak, and you kind of removed yourself. You kind of like, I'm not in your circle, but it felt like you were putting out there that you were struggling with something in your career. What was that?
I think when I look back at it now, because obviously I'm more mature, even though I don't act like I'm mature sometimes, but I am. But like, I think obviously after I beat Stephen Thompson, obviously I brought the UFC to my hometown, Liverpool, and obviously they threw me right in with the belt with Woodley. And a lot of people say, oh, he wasn't ready for that because Woodley was on a tear at the time. I feel like I was ready. I feel like at the time, even after Woodley, I was sort of just, it was me taking on all these fights and not taking like the right, the way fighters like take the right route. I've never wanted, like, for me, that's like if I want to be the best, I need to fight the best. Like, so obviously then I fought Masvidal, he knocked me out, and then I was like, right, I'm struggling a little bit with the weight here. I need to move up. And then obviously Gaslam, he just fought Adesanya. So when I was moving up, I was like to Dana, who can I have? Give me the highest guy. And he was like, well, look, you're just moving up. Like, we need to like ease you in. I was like, no, give me the best guy. He was like, and I said, Gaslam just fought Adesanya in that, like, they had a crazy, like, 5-round war. I said, give me Gaslam. I was like, I can beat him. I know I can beat him. So moved up to middleweight, fought Gaslam in Madison Square Garden. Got the fight with him, beat him. And then obviously COVID hit. Do you remember COVID hit? And then that's why when the UFC did come to me, it was like, look, we want to do a 3-day event in Abu Dhabi. We want to do Usman, Burns. It was Usman Burns. I can't remember. It was Usman someone. And then we want to do on the Friday, you versus Whittaker. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. Come on. And that was like, for me, that was, I know, even though I lost, I was like, oh, it was one of my best performances ever. Just a little bit more, could have maybe won. Like, people say, oh, no, it was a fit. I feel like Whittaker maybe edged it with like maybe a takedown in the 5th round, but it was a phenomenal fight. And obviously, after that, that's where, for me, it sort of like went rolling down the hill. Even now, like, the way I'm suffering, like, I'm not suffering, but I was scheduled to fight Derek Brunson. It was in the UFC Apex, and at the time, like 8 weeks before the fight, me and Tom Aspinall were training, because obviously he used to be my former training partner. And at the time, now when I look back, I was like, I never should have been training with a guy of his size, because we used to like go at it like crazy, like sparring, like it was 100% every time with me and Tom. And sometimes we were even like, oh, this is getting hard. Like he hits so hard, TJ left.
Well, he's fucking massive. He's a big boy.
Huge. No, he's huge. But I'm one of them. I try to have a good go myself, but it's like, even when we were doing the wrestling and stuff like that, it's hard. So I remember one time we was wrestling, and my knee got like stuck in between his legs, and my ACL tore. And that for me, for like the beginning and the end, because sort of my coach at the time was asking me, he's like, what do you want to do? But boom, and I was like, no, let's take the fight. I can beat Derek. I know I can. And obviously I had some good moments, and then it just sort of, it spiraled. Obviously I lost to Derek, and then at the time, I sort of was in between my gym and moving around because I trained with Kamzat and stuff like that. And I went to Thailand to train for my fight with Dricus Duplessis. And he was on a tear, he was up come, but obviously a lot of people were like, is he good? Is he bad? And I was the same. I couldn't figure out how, like, because you see him and some of his techniques looks a little bit off, but he gets the win. So I'm like, no, he's got to be good. There's got to be something, like, even his will to win. And obviously we had a great fight. He tapped me in the third round. Then after that, DJ, for me, it was sort of just like, hang on, like there's always been a bit of narrative. I feel like sometimes even when I look on Twitter, like I see a few trolls and that, like, oh, Till doesn't dedicate himself. Like anyone who's ever trained with me, Kamzat, Brendan Loughlin, all these guys, like Tom, I train harder than anyone. That's my problem. That's why I was so much riddled with injuries. So that was when I had to take a step back and I was like, nah, I need to like leave the UFC now and reconfigure things. Like I'm young, I can come back. I know I had a great relationship with Dana and Hunt. I was like, no, I wasn't able to, like, my fight with Dricus, I didn't do any grappling at all because I couldn't. Like, I was suffering with injuries, and I was from like years of just not recovering, not being smart, and just training, overtraining. And that was like, that's obviously the story of the UFC. And obviously, I asked them at the time, I was like, look, I know this is not something you guys usually do, but look, I'm struggling here. Can like you release me? And do you know what? Fair play to Hunter and Dana. Like, they get a bad rap, but they did. They released me there and then.
So you asked for a release, but you see a lot of athletes. I mean, the biggest thing is you're still young. You're 32 years old. Yeah. So, and you're more mature. You have so much more experience, right? Yeah. It seems like you got your life in a place where it's like, okay, if I'm going to go back to mixed martial arts, I know what I'm going to get myself into. But you found success in boxing. You knocked out my good man. You knocked out my good man, Luke Rockhold. Why the transition? No, that's all good. It's all good. It was a great fight. Your combination. Why, when you made that transition to boxing, what edged you to go more to boxing instead of, I'm gonna take a couple years off. I'm gonna go back to mixed martial arts, but you went to boxing instead.
Yeah. As I say, DJ, obviously looking at it collectively, when I stepped back from the UFC, I've got a lot of like heavy contacts in the game of boxing. And like, I just knew a lot of people. I was like, hang on, there's a money train to be had here. I see what Jake Paul's doing. I see what like Tommy Fury's doing. I was like, no, I can get in on this. Like, obviously, fully believe in me striking, DJ. Not even just with boxing, like kick and elbow and like, I don't like to throw the words around like master, but like, I know I'm a high level striker when it comes down to it. Like, I fought the best of the best, Whitakers and your Stephen Thompsons and stuff like that. I even fought a class like with Gavin. So I was like, no, there's a money train here. I can get on this money train and just choo-choo, go all the way. So I was like, okay. And it took me a little while. I think there's a hell of a lot of politics in boxing, DJ, like so much more than UFC. So it took me a little while, but I feel like what I've done differently to all the other guys who've transitioned, because a lot of them haven't had success, I just stayed in the gym consistently. So like every day I was in the gym with like these world champions, all professional world champions, and I was like, okay, right, I need to watch exactly what these guys do, because this isn't just as simple as transitioning. These guys move differently, they fight differently, it's closer, it's like it's inside, they move, they're always throwing punches, stuff. I was like, right, time to knuckle down. So that's what I did. Obviously, I've had 4 fights in boxing now. I had 1 last year in Dubai and 3 this year. I was obviously scheduled to fight Tommy. I've got me theories on why he pulled out, but it's a money train, DJ, and I'm on it. I'm on it, mate. Do you know what I mean?
So when you talk about the politics, right? There's a lot more politics in boxing than in mixed martial arts or the UFC. Right now, everybody says, oh, boxers make more money than UFC guys, right? You've been on both sides of the fence, right? You've had a long career, a good-sized career in mixed martial arts, and now you're starting to get on this choo-choo money train, as you call it. How would you compare the money? I mean, I know you're just starting out with boxing, but you've had some good fights. You're the Misfits champion now. How is that? And then what's it like negotiating with, because, boxing, they have the Ali Act, right?
Yeah.
What's the difference in the negotiating, right?
For me, right, I can't really go off professional boxing, I kind of bit, but if I have to decipher it down to, let's say, influencer boxing with Misfits and stuff like that, I've made a hell of a lot of money this year, DJ. Like, I'm doing well. Like, I'm okay. I'm happy.
I love that.
I'm good. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
I
don't want to disrespect anyone, especially Luke. Like, Luke was a UFC middleweight champion, and Darren Stewart, my opponent before him, fought in UFC. Never seen him took a knockdown once. Obviously, didn't get to the highest level, but tough. And obviously Anthony Taylor, there and about, and the guy before that was just obviously, but like, I'm fighting. I feel like these are easier fights, and I know people. This is just me, and people are going to disagree. You could have your agreement, and I'm one of them. I'm open for opinions, but I just know when I come up against the guys like Tommy and Jake,
it's that. Yeah, it's.
I just don't. Even if Jake is a bit more prepared, just the willingness to win and stuff like that, and just time and pressure, fighting, they ain't got that in their locker. And I just don't like the narrative at the moment. Like, I seen Eddie Hearn doing an interview today. He's like, Darren's looking decent and stuff like that. And I just think to myself, no, some of these guys probably move better as a boxer. But when I'm twitching on you, I'm taking all your breath away, and I'm twitching and moving, and I'm probably moving a little bit, not like a boxer, more MMA. That's different for me. You don't know where the shots are coming from. And all these pro boxers I've sparred in the gym, they always say to me, like, I know your left's coming, but I don't know where it's coming from. It's like, because I'm setting it up and twitching. And I just know when I come up against your Tommies and your Jakes, I just know that's going to be the edge for me. And I'm probably giving my game plan away, but they're not even going to be able to stop it, so it doesn't even fucking matter. And this is just me. This is my opinion, but I'm the same size. I'm young. And every single day I'm getting better. Like, I'm already raring to go, like, back in the gym. Like, I'm just like speaking to coaches, when am I fighting? Who am I fighting? Give me a name. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think the biggest thing is you're probably one of the influencers' worst nightmare, right? Because one, you're not scared to fight, right? That's you've proven that you've done mixed martial arts. And I would say at some point in time in your MMA, you were successful. Then you had your lows. You battled all those injuries. But now you're in boxing, where it's like, all I have to do is worry about one aspect of the game.
Yeah.
And the aspect of the game I have to worry about, it's your favorite part of the game, right? A lot of guys who come from a Muay Thai background, stand-up background, it's like, if you give Rodtang the opportunity, hey, Rodtang, you ain't got to worry about elbows or kicks. You just got to box all the time. He goes, oh, perfect. No takedowns.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier. So for you, if you get the opportunity to fight a Jake Paul or a Tommy Fury, it's like they're fighting a true fighter who's come from a combat background. That's no disrespect to anybody else they spot, but it's a different ball game, right? And so I hope you get those fights, because you're like, okay, you're young, right? It's like, you're not fighting fucking Mike Tyson. Nothing but love for Mike Tyson, but it's like, you're fighting someone who's athletic, who's 32, who's strong and hungry, who's willing to take the fight to them.
Yeah. No, and to be honest, I do have to give props to Jake Paul. Like, the way I've seen him improved over the past few years, he's really improved. He really can. He can box. He's got power. He's big. He's obviously got a phenomenal team around him, because especially he's got so much money. So it's like, he's not. If I was to fight Jake Paul now, let's say in the next 12 weeks, I would train harder than ever, just to leave no stone unturned, because he's a guy, he can beat you. He's got the power. He's proved that. Like, so, it's not like Jake Paul's a walkover. I just know when it comes down to the nitty gritty, and people have just been like, so, oh no, you beat Luke, he's 40. It's like, yeah, okay, but I'm not going to go on and like try and fight, as you're saying, Mike Tyson. I wouldn't want to, to be totally honest with you, I really wouldn't want to fight Mike Tyson. I wouldn't want to put myself through that, like, oh, I beat Mike Tyson, but no one ever. Like, 1990s Mike Tyson, one of the most ferocious boxers on earth. Like, that's where, for me, the gimmick that comes in, DJ. Look, and as I'm part of the circus, so I have to hold my hands up. Look, the circus is here, but some of the gimmicks, I'm like, no, come on. And then it's like, so for me, I do just want to fight the best competition in influencer boxing. And then, if it comes down to it and I don't go back to MMA, then I'll go to the pros and I'll try my hand at that. And I'll just be like, come on, let's see what I can do. Like, I'm getting better each fight. People even said it's the best shape they see me in my last fight. So I'm getting better. It's not like I'm declining. Like, I'm getting better. I'm hungrier. And look, as a soldier, money's a motivator. If they're throwing money at me, you're going to want more of it.
Yep. Well, I feel like you're at that perfect time where, like, you're still young. You're about to hit your prime as a man, and you're seeing a lot of success, and the money's good. So you're just like, there's no reason why I shouldn't give him my all, especially if it's, Misfits. I know KSI, he's doing a great job of, when I had him on the MIGHTYcast, he goes, I'm about building Misfits, right? I'm not worried about fighting. I'm worried about building it. So what's it like having him as a promoter for Misfits, where he's like, I'm all in?
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I think I've come into Misfits and saw that they're all just like, right, Till's our guy. Because obviously KSI was fighting her, and like him and Tommy, they just don't get along. So KSI's like, right, I can put Till against Tommy. And look, it's no secret I did this. I think this is a big part of it. And obviously you never needed to be like that. I don't feel like you've got any, like, the shit talking. Like, you got 12 years. I was telling my missus before, I was like, I'm about to go on an interview with like probably the best of all time. She's like, really? I was like, yeah. He asked me, I was like, it's very confusing. But obviously, for me, I know what a big part is now, and I didn't get the chance to have the mic before fights in the UFC a lot. Put me on a mic, and I'll just terrorize every single one of these guys. Like, you just all get terrorized. Put Andrew Tate in front of me, I just terrorize him. So I know that's a big part of building it as well. Like, and, you know, it makes a lot of money when you do it. Look at Connor, you know, for example.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're right. I didn't have that skills to you know, talk shit and make the fight more exciting. But I think and the reason why I wanted to have you on the MIGHTYcast, I feel like your story is very unique, right? Because a lot of guys, they come in the MMA, they have a little success, and then, you know, then they don't have any success, and they kind of just disappear. They kind of, I don't want to say they give up on themselves, but it's very rare you see, I don't want to call it a resurgence, but I feel like you kind of found your different path, right? It's almost like Mike Perry. He was doing decent in the UFC, then he lost. Then he finds bare knuckle fighting, and now he's like the fucking king dingly. Now he's doing dirty boxing, right? So you have a unique story where it's like, you're killing it at boxing. It's like you look amazing your last fight against Luke. Like when I saw the combination, like when I love Luke, and I hate when he does the boxing. I'm like, Luke, your kicks are like one of your greatest assets when you fight. It's like your question mark kick, your body kick. That's what makes you dangerous, right? It's his hands are decent, but like when you fucking piece him up and you hit him and you hit him again, I was like, Jesus Christ, fucking Darren's fucking boxing is. He's dangerous.
But that's what I mean about being consistent as well, DJ. Like some of these MMA guys, you know, I don't want to slate any of them, but they've come into boxing like, I boxed MMA, so I'll be fine in boxing. From what I've experienced now over the last 2.5 years of being in the boxing circle, boxing is a completely different sport. Like totally from MMA. Like I didn't realize how much the movement, the way they're always close, but just not far enough. Whereas in MMA, you have to worry about kicks, takedowns, and it's immense. They fight on the inside, and it's like the way you have to have your body. Like Terence Crawford was like showing someone like how you should stand, and if you're standing like that, you're so much open to get hit. But you know you're being on your side. So even for us MMA fighters, we'll be like, yeah, I can do that, but then we'll revert back to truth. So for me, this 2.5 years hasn't solely been about like catching the money. I'm like, man, I want to proper, and I'm a quick man. I'm like, I want to proper get good at boxing. Like, I want to be really good. Now, look, I'm not trying to say I'll get to be the best in the world. That, you know, no, 32. But I know I can get to a decent level. Us as fighters, we can take this stuff in. You know, we're not young sponges, but we're not stupid either. So I do really feel like I can have a good little career the next few years out of it. And obviously, the best thing about it is make a good bit of money.
Yeah. Well, I mean, don't sell yourself short. You're 32. Terence Crawford's 37. He just put on one of his best performances of his lifetime, right? I mean, it's all about how you take care of yourself. And boxing is different. Like watching the Crawford versus Canelo, Crawford did a good job of always turning Canelo. Each time Canelo would get so close, he'd get across the void.
I watched that,
Yep, and then he would always turn into his left hook, and he would go left hook to the body, and then he couldn't follow up. I'm like,
it was phenomenal. It was like, it was a masterclass. It was an absolute masterclass.
Yeah, and if you, and that's why I tell you, I was like, what Crawford did was amazing, right? It's not combat. It's a different type of form of combat. Like, it's a way 100%. If you come from an MMA background and you watch it, you're like, oh, it's boring. I'm not gonna lie. When I watched it, I wasn't entertained, but was I in awe, like how he was able to do that to Canelo, somebody who's beat the shit out of people and just really boot him up, and then hear Canelo say, "I couldn't figure out his style. Like I just couldn't figure him out." It's like, wow, like.
That's crazy.
You're the. I feel like he's the face of boxing, him and Usyk, because each time Canelo fights, like I'm always watching. I've seen more Canelo fights than Crawford, but Crawford was a masterclass. So you're right. MMA compared to boxing is two different sports. Like if you don't understand the sweet science of boxing, which I feel like you have accepted that, where a lot of MMA guys they don't accept that. They haven't accepted that.
I've accepted that each fight, next fight, hopefully, let's say I do end up fighting Carl Froch. You know, I don't know if anyone's aware, but obviously one of the best fighters to come out of England. You know, he won everything. He fought with Andre Ward and stuff like that. I know he's a bit old now. If I get the fight with him or the fight with Tommy, you know, these are fights that I have to get better for each camp. each time in the gym. So it's not like I don't want to stay stagnant now. I don't want to stay. I want to like last fight. There's something I could do. The fight before I stayed on the ropes a bit much. So I need to just keep getting better. And the way you keep getting better is you stay in the gym, you stay consistent, you learn, you ask questions. Like if I was in the gym with you, DJ, I just have to ask everything because I'm like the guy 12 times UFC. Like, so that's how I see things, DJ. Whereas I feel like some of the MMA fighters who've crossed over, they've just crossed over like money and just, I'll fight. It's like, no, you need a little bit of learning as well.
Yeah. Now, are you doing your full camp? Like, are you full time in Brazil now, or where's home base now where you're doing all your boxing training?
Whole night now is in England, Liverpool. Liverpool's renowned for its boxing. Like, you know, a lot of good gyms, a lot of good coaches. And at this point now, I've been wanting to travel a bit. So obviously I'm in Brazil now. I'm going to go to Mexico next week to, I don't know if you know, the CPI stem cell.
Yep.
I'm going to do stem cell there. So after that, and then I think I'm going to visit back to Brazil for a week. And then I think we're probably going to take a little journey to Dubai and probably maybe do a fight camp there. I've got a lot of friends there. So maybe I'm going to take my coaches with me and stuff like that. So maybe that's the next phase. I don't know. Like, and obviously there's fight negotiations ongoing now. Obviously we were campaigning for the Andrew Tate fight. That was looking like it was going to be good. I mean, I don't know from his side what he's saying now. We've had a bit of back and forth on Twitter, but that was looking good. I'm still campaigning for the Tommy fight and obviously the Carl Froch fight. So there's big heavy fights out there, DJ. So for me, I'm in a win-win position. I've got myself into a great position.
Now, since you're on a Misfits Boxing, are you able to lobby for other fights, or are you under that umbrella? You can't.
No, I'm finished. I've fought out my contract with Misfits now, so I'm a free agent.
Oh wow. Okay, so now you're able. So talk to me about that, right? Like, you know, obviously you're lobbying for fights, you're negotiating, right? Like they always say, boxing has more leverage. Boxers have more leverage to do the negotiating, right? Like you're trying to pick. You're not picking, but you're like, hey, I'll fight Tommy. I'll fight Andrew Tate, or Tristan Tate, whatever the Tate brothers you're gonna fight, or I'll fight this guy. Let's say, okay, let's say, all right, I'm gonna fight Darren Till. Me, you agreed to fight. What's the next step? Do you go out and fight? Like you go to KSI, like, hey, Misfits, hey, I got a potential fight that you guys might like. It's me versus Misha Johnson. You guys wanna have it? Walk me through that negotiating process. Since you've already fought out your contract with Misfit, you're under no umbrella, so you're pretty much a free man. So walk me through that step.
I think this is as well for a lot of fans watching from how it is in the UFC to boxing, and what I've gathered, us as boxers have more leverage. So what could happen now is Matchroom, Eddie Hearn could come along and be like, we love the fight. Misfits have also still got a little bit of hope because they can come at me with an offer after fighting on contract. So they were like, we love the fight as well. We'll let both guys put it on. Matchroom will obviously look after Carl Froch. Misfits will look after me. Them two guys will come together. We'll negotiate. Let's say, obviously, Carl Froch being the A side. You know, he'll negotiate for his pay. I'll negotiate. I'll be like, no, I know how much I'm worth. That'll be obviously an ongoing negotiation. Even little things like ring size, gloves, like what gloves you're going to wear, all that is in negotiation that goes into the contract. So, yeah, we do have a lot of leverage. Like, obviously, now I know my worth. I know exactly what I'm worth now. I know exactly what I bring to the table. The whole world was talking about me after the fight, especially even, you know, I was beefing with Andrew Tate, who's one of the most famous guys in the world. So I know my worth right now. I'm not going to ask for an insane amount, but I'm like, no, it's time to get paid properly. And obviously, sometimes I don't feel like you have that leverage in the UFC. It's just like you do as you're told. So I've got that now. Obviously, I've fought my contract out. So obviously, Misfits is at the top of the list. But then there's other people that can come along. And this is not me saying I'm going to go away from Misfits. But if someone comes along now and offers me a ridiculous amount of money, it's like, look, I love yous, but I'm going to leave yous for now. Like, and that's how it is. So there's a lot of promoters that can come along and they say, look, I like the fight. They can go and speak to their TV who they're with. They'd be like, right, let's make this fight. This fight's massive. Let's get this fight. They'll campaign with them. And that's how it worked. That's how I'm gathering. I don't even know if I should be saying all this, but I'm fucking saying I don't give a shit.
No. No, I think it's important you said it, because I think a lot of people don't understand. You know, I understand it, right? But you hear about it, but until you hear it from somebody who's actually in it, you don't know. Like you read something and it's like, oh, I guess that's how it is. But a lot of people think like when, you know, right now I'm following the case with the Ali Act revision, right? Where the UFC they're trying to revisit and make it a UBO, where a UBO is this UBO, this UBO, this UBO. And if you're in that UBO, you cannot. There is no lobbying, right? Like you don't get there's an A side or a B side. They're trying to take that out of the Ali Act because they want to get into boxing, right? So for you, who's been in mixed martial arts, who's been underneath the UFC banner, and you know it's like this is what you get. 10-10 or 32-32. That's it. Oh, you beat that guy. Oh, your next fight, it's already set in stone. It's 36-36. Oh, you beat that guy. Oh, next one is 40-40. Oh, guess what? You're on the other side where you're like, hey, I just fucking knocked out Luke Rockhold. I'm a free agent. Yeah. I'm about to fight Tommy Fury. Hey, Tommy Fury, we're going to fight. We both sided. Eddie Hearn goes, I like that fucking fight. I'm going to give you $2 million. Darren, I'm gonna give you $2 million, and you're like, whoa, hold on, mate. Watch your fucking self. I'll stab you, mate. I want $3 million. That's the going. That's you can do that, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. Like the UFC as well. Like I don't like to slander Dana too much. He gets a lot of heat, but obviously I have to be a truthful guy as well. I will stand on business for what I believe in as well, stuff like that. But it's like even when you're in the UFC, it's like, oh, we're gonna take away your sponsorship now. We're gonna put Venom in there or Reebok, and I was like, oh, whoa, what the fuck's going on now? So now the fighters aren't even making money outside of it. It was actually quite cruel. Some of it was cruel, but like that sort of stuff, 10 plus 10, and then it's like your fight set in stone. Fuck all that, mate. That does not like for me now. Like I'll just be honest with you. For me now, I couldn't be loving life more right now. Like I'll be honest, I've just made a shit ton of money. I'm here in Brazil with my fucking daughter, eating what I want, getting fat, just lifting weights, and I'm just like, who wants to fight? Just like everyone wants to fight. Come on, like fucking come on, constant stop, like 2 mil, 3 mil. Yeah, you want to be the A side and get 4 mil? Go on, give me. I've got no ego, DJ. If you want to call yourself the A side and you want to pick the gloves and you want to say this and that, I don't give a fuck because I can fight. I fucking want to fight. I'm training. I'm getting better. And you're gonna tell me what you want 4 mil and I can get 2.5. Fucking true, right? Give me the money. I don't give a shit. Then next fight again, it'll be the same thing. Oh, you want to be the A side and take 5 mil? And I take 3 mil. No problem. Well, no problem at all. Go for it. Like be the ace. You're the best. You're everything. You're the best. I'm just gonna do me. I'm just gonna knuckle down. None of that ego shit. Next fight again, Jake Paul, you want 50 million, give me 10. 10 million for a little boy from fucking, I don't give a shit, take it, because I'm going to knock you clean out and I'll just keep bump. So that's it with me, DJ, like, no ego. And what, making all these millies, fucking, what, instead of negotiating 50-50 in the UFC or 100-100 and then getting taxed in America and England for me? Fuck that shit, mate. I'm not a fucking cunt. No way. Just give me the millies. Andrew Tate wants to beat the top G. He can beat the top G. Shag all the women. And I'm not about that life. Take 20 million. Give me 5. I'm happy because I'll just knock you flat out. So that's how it is, DJ.
What I'm hearing is your ass ain't never coming back to mixed martial arts because you have so much more. I mean, it's the truth. Well, you have so much more say. You have so much more leverage. You can dictate what's happening and you get a nice slice of the pie where, like I said, a lot of people who are in your position in boxing, we don't get the opportunity to talk to them about that, right? Like, could you imagine how every UFC fighter goes, I'm going to get this much, no, but I'm going to do that, have leverage? Nobody would fight. I mean, everybody would want to fight, but I don't think you would get the matchups that are being not forced, but I guess you could say, you know, a lot of things with boxing is that you get into matchups with Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis. On the outside, it's almost like, what the fuck? I was like, can we not? I mean, I love it, but as the sportsman side of me, as an athlete, it's like, isn't there another guy out there who's...
But that's where, like, then it comes back to the UFC being the best because you know yourself, DJ, being one of the best of all time. The best always fight the best in the UFC. Like, I remember when there was a battle fighter, I think it was for Islam, someone, and Volkanovski, who's number 2, was going to be the battle fighter. Like, that doesn't happen in boxing. Like, Ryan Garcia, before he was fighting anyone, was fighting just boom. The UFC, it doesn't work like that. You're fighting, when you're in the UFC, you just killers. You've seen the prelims. The prelims are better than the main event, the main card. Most of the times, like, killer's row. So it's like, then we have to go back and think, well, hang on, no, that's why the UFC is creeping up on boxing, because Dana does make the best fight. I mean, I feel like he's let off lately. I think his focus has been more on boxing. But if we look back on the fights he's made, and the best have always fought, but like number one fight's number two. So are we willing to like accept lesser pay? That's the problem, because there is a lot lesser pay. So when you're looking at it from the outside, the UFC's always putting on the best way, the best way. I can't, like, for me, when I look at Gervonta Davis' record, who, like, by the way, I think he's a phenomenal fighter, and and Ryan Garcia, I'm like, you haven't really fought who you should have been fighting. And Shakur Stevenson's there, but you still haven't fought. And it's all, that's when I say about boxing and the crazy politics behind it, because the promoters have egos. These two, like with Dana, he's the boss, but these two promoters, they have big egos, so they're having like cock-offs, like, my cock's bigger than yours. And this is where I can't understand it, because, like, I'm just like, give me £2 million if you want a bigger cock than me. Go on, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. As long as I'm getting 2 million and me and my missus and my kids are happy and my friends are happy, I couldn't care less. Like, so that's, for me, I am an anomaly with it, DJ. But when we do look at that properly, and obviously, as a guy, me looking up to you, you always fought the best, and Islam and Ilia and stuff like that. That doesn't happen in boxing, so it's half of a sad story in a way.
Do you think?
So,
do you think that would make boxing better? Because I agree with you. Like, you had Gervonta Davis fight Ryan Garcia. That took forever to make happen. It's like, why? Like, you guys are in the same weight class, and then it's like, oh, rehydration. You can't do that. Shakur Stevenson versus Gervonta Davis. Devin Haney versus Gervonta. Like, you have so many. It's like, they're fighting guys that you don't even heard of. It's like, why don't you fight those guys? Do you think boxing could do better if they did it?
Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury. Like, I wanted to see that fight like 6 or 7 years ago, and now I just don't really give a shit, because they both lost. They're both sort at the end, and now they're both like, yeah, let's milk the public and get hundreds of millions out of us. And it's like, oh my God, it's like, so this is where it does really infuriate me, because as a boxing fan as yourself, it's like, why aren't all these guys fighting each other like in the UFC? So, but then if we were to do that, like, would things change? This is where I'm still not getting it. I think it's a thing with the promoters. I think it's a thing with the fighters. And I think collectively there's just so much, there's not nearly enough politics in MMA as the same in MMA as boxing. Boxing, it's riddled. Even like, I talk shit about the promoters, the boxer ball, all that. They're just so corrupt. I don't give a fuck. I do that to them. I go fight in Dubai. Like, I'm not asked at all. So that's where I'm confused, because obviously I'm just like, I'm like, it's black and white for me. Like, I just say it how it is, black and white. And if it's grey, I'm like, oh, why is this a grey area? What's going on? So that's where I'm still really struggling. But I am learning. But yeah, we have a lot more leverage to negotiate, which, as I just said, it's fabulous for me. But then in the UFC, it's like, shut up, you're getting 10 grand and you'll be happy with it.
Yep. Well, I also think your mindset comes from that background of fighting in Muay Thai, fighting in mixed martial arts, where you have no say-so, and then you get to opportunity where you're like, I'm going to make this much money. Yep, sign it. You be A side, you be B side, you can do whatever. I'm going to get that. I'm going to get that fat check. And then when you're like, I want to fight the best, where you see the other guys like, well, you know what? I don't want my guy to fight that guy. I'm just going to have a fight this guy. Like, who the fuck is that guy? Instead, I was like, no, I would. And I think one day we will get that. We will get that answer, because it always, that's one thing that I dislike about boxing. It's like, why did it take forever for Mayweather to fight Pacquiao? Why did it take forever? You know, I remember when, like, Ricky Hatton was a big thing, and then Ricky Hatton fought Mayweather. Mayweather knocked him out. Then he goes to fight some other people, and then he fights Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao knocks him out.
God rest his soul, by the way. R.I.P. Ricky Hatton, he just passed. God rest his soul.
Just passed. I was thinking about his career recently, but it's like, it was very hard to see the best fight the best in boxing. And just like you said, Anthony Joshua, why didn't he fight Deontay Wilder, or Deontay Wilder fight, took forever for him to fight Tyson Fury. Just all of that just takes forever. Besides Usyk was like, I'll fight all you guys. Like, I'll fight you. He didn't care, right? So I think it's all based on the athlete.
Well, you can even see it in Usyk's interviews. They're like, fight Anthony Joshua. He's like, yeah, he beat me. Usyk doesn't give a shit about all this ego and whose cock's bigger and who's top G and who fucks the most women. Usyk's just like, as soon as I get in the ring, it's over for you. And that's sort of how I'm thinking now. I'm not trying to say I'm the best in the world. I'm not. But I'm in this influencer scene. And if Tommy Fury wants to stand in front of me and show me his watch click and say how better than he is, well, I don't give a shit. Come on, just as long as I'm making a few quid for me fucking peers and I've got a few fucking jackets to buy, I'm not arsed. I couldn't give a shit. I don't give a shit about private planes or yachts. I mean, I'd love to be on one, don't get it wrong, if I get that money. But, you know, like, I mean, obviously, if that comes, I would want that. Like, I think if my missus was listening now, she'd be like, no, get the private jet. But no, it's like, I just think it's what you just said, it's just so much like egotism and stuff like that. And it's all like, they all want to be the best. For me, just get me in the ring and I'll show you who the best is. That's how I think.
I fucking love that. Where does that come from? Sorry, I had to plug my computer in hand.
It's okay. I don't know, DJ. I think a lot of years of like hardship and learning and being around people and understanding. Like, I've had to do a lot of growing myself. Like, I've had relationships that have failed. You know, you're bringing up your kids, you're having to survive. You know, I've had friends. You know, I've had good friends around me and stuff like that. And I just think a lot of learnings come up to this point, and I saw them at the time of now what's right, what's wrong. And I just think the worst thing as a man is when you've got this like ego. It's like, you know, when you're out in public and you don't want to show affection to your woman, or if you're with your girls and you don't want to be like putting face paint on with your little girls. Like, oh, like what's that about? Like, for me, just completely take your ego out of it. And if a man wants to stand in front of you and say, I'm bigger and stronger, and you're like, yeah, it's sound, mate. I'm not really asked. You can go and be big and strong somewhere else. Leave me to have a good time. So it's took a lot of years of learning to be like that. And look, I'm one of them. You either love me or you hate me. Like, I see Twitter, what it's like, and I fucking love it. I love having the beefs on there. But to get to this point, to look at how you have an ego, for me, I think it's best to have a minimal one, and like, as I say, let my fighting do, let my talking do the fight. I know I talk a lot, but like prove in the ring. So that's what I mean. Like, beforehand, if someone wants to fight with me and they want more money and they want the gloves and they want to tell me that they're better than me and they're top G, I don't give a shit. So it's took a lot, but I feel like I'm learning. I'm still young and I've got a hell of a lot to learn, but I feel like I'm on a good path, not a bad path.
I love that. So what's your goal? What's, you know, you got the boxing going on. What's your end game? What does Darren Till want to do when he's all done with the combat? I know you're 32, but what is something that you're like, you know what, I'm going to keep on winning, keep doing this. I'm going to start stacking my money towards this. Yeah. And I want to retire in Brazil. I love Brazil, or I want to retire in England. Like, where you're grinding, you're trying to get some new jackets, but what's the end game goal for you, Darren?
Do you want me to be totally honest, DJ? And this is no like.
That's why I fucking asked. Yes, I want you to be honest.
This is not like no stretch of like. This is no lies. I just struggled to get through the days, DJ. Like, I could bring my missus in here now. She's like, she would tell you, like, for me, I'm not really a man with a plan. I don't really plan around me money. I just sort of try to get by. And like, I think I've got a bit of a plan with what I want to do. I'm like, right, this boxing, yeah. But I haven't, like, I can see you probably a guy who sets out your plan like 5 year, 10 year, and look how successful you are from it. I'm not trying to say like my way, obviously. I don't know. I'm seeing what's coming now, and I'm like, yeah, this is good. I can buy loads of jackets for me and my friends. I can buy loads of jackets for my daughters and my girlfriend. So let's just keep doing it. So there isn't really a plan, but I know I'm young and I know I've got a lot to give still. So that's probably the plan, if you get what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if I'm articulating myself well. Do you know what I mean?
No, you live in your best life right now. You're enjoying it. You're just going through it. I think since you've had a lot of hardship growing up and trying to find where you feel the best and where you feel strong, healthy, you're surrounded by good people, you got good energy around you. Now you're like, we're just gonna keep this going. We're gonna keep this good energy going.
I don't want to say hardships as well, DJ, because that for me sometimes I'm like, oh, don't start saying you've had a hard upbringing, because I know people out there who've had the hard one. Like, I had a great upbringing, but obviously I've had me we live in a first world, obviously, me and yourself. We have our trials and tribulations. We have like the good and bad that affect us, and then obviously people who live in poverty have the same thing and stuff like that. But it's sort of like that. I've had like sort of one of them lives where it's to do a lot of learning and growing, do you know what I mean? And the energies and stuff have got to be right and stuff like that. And as I said, it's all black and white for me. So I'm just on this, as I say, money train. I'm just like, right, keep that coming. Let's go. I've gone from buying fake watches to real watches. I'm fucking buzzing. I'm buzzing.
But what I mean, you did have hardship because anybody, like for example, where I come from, they hear my story, and then when they see all the things that I've been able to achieve, they're like, wow, like how were you able to pull yourself out of that and become what you do, right? So for you, for somebody who got stabbed fucking 2 times in the ribs and you're fucking around in the streets and then you're able to turn your life around. Not that your life was going in shit, but if you take anybody else from a different area who gets stabbed, they would be bitter. They would be like, fuck this man. I'm going to get him back. I'm going to make sure. People have that mindset where they turn themselves into like, I can't do, I wish I could have done this. But you were like, I got stabbed twice, went to the gym. Let me figure out my shit. I go to Brazil. You do something. So that, in my eyes, in America, we see that as hardship, and we all have hardship.
Yeah, I'm a do it as well, DJ. Like, I'm one of them, mate. You put me in Brazil, if you fucking put me in anywhere, Africa, anywhere, I'm going to fucking survive, and I'm going to make money, and I'm going to learn the traits of the way you guys live. I'm one of them, mate. Like, sometimes us English, for me especially, I feel like we're entitled. Like, no, you need to speak English. I'm sort of the mindset now. If I'm in your country, I'm going to fucking try and learn your fucking language. So, like, throw me in Japan, throw me anywhere. I'm one of them. Leave me with no phone, no bank accounts and stuff like that. And trust me, I'll get by. Like, I'll get by. I'll survive. I'll provide for my family. I'll provide for myself. And I'll provide for anyone else who needs it around me. And that's a good mentality to have. So I just know, no matter what, I'm going to be okay. Do you know what I mean? As long as I don't get stabbed again, I'll be fine.
I fucking love that. Well, before I let you go, Darren, my man Michael Wandover, he's got a question. Michael, the floor is yours. What you got for my man Darren?
Hey, Darren, first of all, you'll never walk alone representing Liverpool. DJ knows nothing.
Number? Who you got?
No, this is no one on the back, but I do have a Mo Salah jersey.
Okay.
I went to Anfield. DJ and I were in the UK. I went to Liverpool Arsenal at Anfield this past season. Won the last game. It was absolutely incredible. It was DJ should have came along.
Oh, DJ, you missed out, I swear. Liverpool game.
Hey, I'm going back this time, just me and the wife, no children. So maybe we will catch a soccer football game.
Yes, please do. Oh, it's unbelievable.
No, it was amazing. But so the question I have, we have heard Andrew Tate, the top G, he's rumored to be potentially fighting for Misfits. I don't believe he's going to fight you first. That'd be a pretty tough first opponent. But what do you think about his credentials? Because there's a lot of people who say, is he legit? Is he not legit? How do you think he will fare in boxing?
Look, Andrew Tate didn't have a bad kickboxing career. Like, he was okay. He didn't get to, like, the highest level, stuff like that. But the guy can fight, and he's a big dude. He's a heavyweight. You know, he packs a punches too. I think he'll do pretty okay. But as you say, I don't see myself, unless the money and stuff like that's right, ever fighting Andrew Tate. I just think he wants to stay away from that. Altogether, collectively, you know, he knows I'm a little bit unhinged and stuff like that. And you don't want to take that thing away from being the top G, the top man, you know, his ego and stuff like that. So I do think he'll stay away from me. But it's a good back and forth. I invite it, you know what I mean? But he did have some good credentials. I mean, DJ, I don't know if you're fond of I don't know if you're familiar with Liam Harrison, you know, one of the greatest Muay Thai fighters of all time. I trained with him for years. He trained with Andrew and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure Andrew's, you know, he had a great kickboxing background. And, you know, like we said, he has all the money in the world. He can get a great facility. He can get people around him to actually help him train, get ready for a boxing match. So I think he'll do just fine, right? Especially if he's not scared to get hit. But, you know, I think that's a fight that all of us want to see. And, you know, we got special guest, MMA Gurus, in the chat. He helped set this interview up. He's a big fan of yours as well.
What's up, guys? How's it going, man?
What's up, Guru? You just chat shit about me. Do you want some?
What did I say about you recently?
No, you don't. We've always been cool. I just love the way you shit talk everyone else. It just makes me happy.
Thanks. Yeah, I got messaged 5 minutes ago telling me to crash the interview. I don't know what you want me to fucking say.
I love it. Look,
I thought I'd
you
show
know,
up, show some moral support, bring some
yes,
extra
come on.
viewership in.
I'm
You know how
working
it goes,
myself.
dude.
Hey, come on, amigo. I'm working myself way back up now, mate. You got to support me now on the way back
Yeah,
up.
you're back into his prime, dude. Second prime
Yeah,
of Darren
of
Till, dude.
course.
Where's Andrew Tate? Where's Andrew Tate, man? You
There
take
it
his
is.
Where
chin
the
off.
fuck is he, mate?
You don't want it, man. Well, I wasn't a fan of the Carl Froch call-out, I'll be honest with you, Darren. It was a bit Jake Paul-esque, the old Carl Froch call-out. So I wasn't sure about that one. I heard Darren Till talking shit about Jake Paul not that long ago, and all of a sudden he's calling out 60-year-olds in the front row.
No, look,
You know what I mean?
No, I'm not going to disagree with you because I have been in my own head. Like, should I call him out or not? But again, sometimes we're whores for the money, aren't we? I'm just whoring myself out.
Each to their own. Yeah, I'm not gonna shame anyone. Fair enough. I think there's a Jake Paul scoop up. What if after don't you ever see Jake Paul in the future of you at any point?
Of course, there's definitely I don't know. Look, as I said to DJ Dave, I'm in the circus, so I have to just accept it fully. Like, we're in the circus, and whatever's to come, we're going to be fighting some older guy. Everything's not going to be legit, is it? So, I don't know. It's, as I said, I don't know what the path is, but the path is to make money and see how far I can take this shit. Maybe I can get into the professional side of it, and obviously, I don't know. I think I'm good. Do you know what I mean?
You're all right. You're pretty decent. I think if you're going to be in the shit show, you should be at the top of the shit show. You want the big pieces of shit is what you're looking for.
Oh God. Well, Drew, thank you so much for stopping by, and thank you for hooking up this interview, because I was trying to get Darren on, and Drew actually gave me your number, Darren, so I can get you on the MIGHTYcast. So I appreciate you, Drew.
No problem.
No, I'm just networking. It's just how I am these days. Just connecting Demetrious Johnson and Darren Till. It's just normal stuff in the life of me. Simple shit.
DJ, whose number are you going to give MMA Guru in return for Darren Till?
I mean, I was trying to work on who we working on, Darren. Not Darren.
Give me John Jones's number. I need some ammunition.
I don't have John Jones' number, but
Okay.
I'll try to get you somebody. But it's wherever you want, Guru. I got you, baby. I got you.
Okay. Ian Gary?
He never got back to me. I don't have his number.
Okay,
maybe
cool.
Darren.
I'll just fish in for some ammunition.
I ain't got his number.
We'll leave it there.
Okay. All right, Guru. Appreciate you stopping by, brother. We'll chat soon on the next UFC pay-per-view. I think people are waiting for that.
Sure, we will on the next episode of the Mighty Guru Show. How about that, Darren? The Mighty Guru Show. What do you think about that, mate? I've really come up in this world, All right, we'll have to get Darren on. We'll give Darren a little 5-minute segment at the end of our next episode then. See you later, guys. I'll just fucking leave. I'll just leave then, guys. See if it fixes it.
Bye, Guru. So, boys, ladies and gentlemen, that is our man, Darren Till. If you enjoyed this episode of the MIGHTYcast, please give a like, subscribe. Also, hit the bell to go live. I am your host, Demetrious Johnson. Our guest was Darren Till, co-host Michael Monservis in the back. We will see you guys in the next episode of the MIGHTYcast. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the MIGHTYcast. And we just had on Darren Till. Now, this is the part of the episode where we recap everything we just went through, called the Mighty Recap. And man, like I said, Darren Till has been on a tear lately. He came into mixed martial arts. He was on fire, and then he had some losses. Then he won one. They had multiple losses, and he kind of just disappeared from mixed martial arts, it felt like. And then he goes away. Then he comes back, and he's just killing it. He's on fire in boxing. He just knocked out Luke Rockhold. But I didn't know he spoke fluently in Portuguese. I didn't know he did a lot of his training in Brazil. I'm sure he went back and forth because he said he did some training with Tom Aspinall in the UK, but I didn't know his story, and I always love hearing it from the athlete's mouth instead of just reading it on Wikipedia. And shit, I did read something on Wikipedia. I typically don't like to do it, but when he was like, oh, he's had a 44-0 in kickboxing, that's why you never trust fucking Wikipedia.
Yeah, he's turned into one of my favorite personalities, and also I want to say I have turned a little bit into a bigger fan of this influencer boxing thing after seeing Canelo Crawford. I know I'll get a lot of hate for this, but I don't know why. It's more to me just seeing like Darren Till, Luke Rockhold. There's some, as an MMA fan, that's appeals to me more. It might feel crazy to say that. I understand Canelo Crawford. If you're a boxing enthusiast, that's going to be a great fight for you, and you probably were loving the chess match between them. But for me, I just love seeing Darren Till just knock these dudes out. And if he's going to fight Carl Froch next, if he's going to fight Andrew Tate next, which I'm not sure if Misfits would give Andrew Tate such a difficult opponent in his first fight. Tommy Fury's another one. We didn't really get to talk about that, but I would love to see Darren Till against Tommy Fury. It's kind of these stories that get me invested, and he is such a great personality that I don't know why I'm starting to become a bigger fan of this whole Misfits boxing scene.
Because I think it's because it's entertainment, right? I think at the end of the day, it's entertainment, and that's what makes UFC so damn dominant. Is because, like even Darren said, like the prelims are better than the main card because you have Killer's Row on there. Where in boxing, you don't have that. And if you were to have that in boxing, what would that do to the sport of boxing? Would it still be exciting? Where you get a guy like Terrence Crawford taking on Canelo Alvarez, it would never have happened if Turki Al-Hashish would have never fronted the money. You know what I mean? And I agree with you. Like when I watched the Canelo versus Crawford fight, I was in a certain mood where I wanted to be entertained, like more of like just a combat and just like, let me see something open up. But Crawford was such a technician in there, and that's boxing. Like watching Mayweather fight, you know, his fights weren't the most exciting, but when it came to technical, it was very, very exciting. I wasn't in that mood to be technical that night. I was in a mood, you know, because your boy was 3 sheets to the win, and also I wasn't fucking Baskin Robbins. But I think Darren Till is on this money train where he is put on excited fights with Misfits, and to hear him talk about, you know, the money's better, but there's so many more politics in boxing than there is in mixed martial arts, where a lot of people won't talk about that side of their experience of negotiating for a fight. And the fact that he is a free agent and he's going to try to get a fight between, you know, the Fury or Andrew Tate or whoever, then it's going to decide who's going to pick that fight up. Would it be Misfits? Would it be Matchroom? Would it be Top Ring? Would it be WO? Would it be who fucking Zuffa Boxing? We have no idea. So it's kind of cool to hear that side of the negotiating where he's at now, since he's a free agent trying to pick a fight with somebody out there.
Yeah, and it's great to see someone who ended his UFC career, you know, a little. And I also want to say something too about the end of his UFC career. It ages very well because he goes against DDP, who at the time is a little bit of an unknown, and it was kind of surprising to see DDP finish Till. But now that we have seen DDP since that fight, he fought him extremely well. Now that we know who Dricus du Plessis is, so it was a tough end to Darren Till's UFC career, and it's great to see, just like Mike Perry, he's one of those guys who has really found a niche. So I'm happy to just hear that he sounds like he's in such a good place in his life. He's in Brazil. He's enjoying family time. He's not even trying to negotiate, oh, I'm the A side. He's like, dude, I'm making millions of dollars just boxing. I don't care, whatever. Let's do it. It's so refreshing to hear someone who I already knew he was a gamer and a guy that would accept any fight that was in front of him. But hearing him talk, I really do believe that's how the negotiations go with Darren Till.
Oh, I believe it. I mean, like I said, when you had that mindset where you were fighting for 10-10 or in 15-15, and then somebody's like, hey, I'm going to give you, you know, I don't know, $500K to show 500. I have no idea, but it seems like he's a lot happier with the money he's getting. And he's also going to be able to get sponsors now, and he can negotiate. Shit, he might be able to get ticket sales, pay-per-view buys, concession stands, who fucking knows now? But, you know, as long as he can, you know, he was buying fake watches, now he's buying real watches, and him and his boys can wear jackets, and he's getting a lot of quid. I mean, I love the fact that, you know, now that I talk to my English side of the family every once in a while, more often than I used to hear the language of how he's saying quid. And my dad says, over in England, he goes, they're stabbers. They don't got guns over there. They'll stab you. And he goes, oh, I got stabbed twice. I'm like, makes sense. My dad was right. They're stabbers over there. I'm happy he's able to turn his life around. And I'm excited to see what he does next. Is he going to fight Tate? Or is he going to fight Fury? Or shit. We never talked to him, like, would he ever go back to fighting, you know, bare knuckle? Well, he's never fought bare knuckle fighting, but I know him and Mike Perry have expressed interest in doing bare knuckle fighting, but I think he's going to stay in that lane of boxing. I think he's found his true calling in that sport. So I'm excited. I'm so happy he was able to give us time to come talk to us here on the MIGHTYcast.
And shout out to MMA Guru as well joining us. He's
His fucking ass.
Yeah, I always love the love-hate relationship that Guru and Darren Till have. So great to see them collabing. But no, I'm excited to see what's next for Darren Till, and I hope one day he earns that Jake Paul fight and finally is the MMA representative that we need to defeat Jake Paul. Just finally.
That we deserve.
Nothing against Jake Paul. I hope we have him on the MIGHTYcast at some point, but I want to see an MMA guy. I thought it'd be Mike Perry. I thought it'd be Tyron Woodley. Can we finally have that MMA representative that actually stops Jake Paul? So that's what I hope for Darren Till in the future.
Well, I think the biggest thing, if Jake Paul ever hears this or people hear this, we're not haters of Jake Paul. We think what he's done for boxing and bringing awareness to fighter pay and mixed martial arts is absolutely amazing. What he's able to do to Amanda Sereno and what he's able to give Mike Tyson, the biggest paycheck of his life, Netflix, all that stuff is absolutely amazing. When you talk to, the athlete side of me and the peers of boxing or of sport competition, you want to see him fight somebody who's more in his league. But that's like, we just talked to Darren Till about it. It's the politics in boxing. And in mixed martial arts, the fighters fight the best. Where in boxing, you see it takes so long for Gervonta Davis to fight Shakur Stevenson or to fight Devin Haney, or Deontay Wilder fighting Anthony Joshua. It's just, there's so much more that goes into like matchmaking in boxing that boxers get to dictate that. Where in mixed martial arts, you don't get to dictate that. Sometimes you do, right? You see a guy goes, I want to fight, I'm going to take this path. But at some point in time, you have to be forced to fight this person. And it's the same thing at boxing. Boxing, if you're a champion, you are forced to fight the next number one contender, or you can relinquish the belt. And you see a lot of athletes do that. Like, I don't want to fight him. They relinquish the belt. Instead of a guy like Usyk, he fights whoever they want him to fight or whoever is next in line to, try to get the title from him. So, boys, if you enjoyed this episode of the MIGHTYcast, please leave a like, subscribe. Also, hit the bell to go live and go do yourself a favor. Go follow Darren Till so you could be on an adventure with him to see what he does next, who he's going to knock out next. I was heartbroken when he knocked out Luke Rockhold, but that's the name of the game. So, boys, I'm your host, Demetrious Johnson, co-host Michael Wandsworth. Our guest was Darren Till. We will see you guys at the next episode of the MIGHTYcast.
Shall he text fucking Aljo the game plan? Holy shit, dude. I don't know. I'm like, you can at least drive a car. You're not as stupid as I think you are, because I would assume he couldn't even drive a car by some of the shit he says. Yeah, I told him he's gonna punch him. I told him he's gonna counter. I literally told him. Look, I told him he's gonna counter punch. It's like, we're in a fight, you fucking dork. You tell him I was gonna wear a cup too? Told him he's gonna wear a mouth guard. I told him, look at, he's gonna wear a mouth guard. He's gonna move his foot. He's gonna move his feet. He's gonna circle. He's gonna try not to get taken down. It's like, holy shit. You think that your audience is actually watching that going, holy shit. He fucking called it. Oh my God, it was just embarrassing watching him say that. It was embarrassing. I was like, oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to MIGHTYcast episode 2. I had to watch that video that my producer sent me. It is basically Sugar Sean O'Malley basically commented on the leaked DMs that Henry told Aljamain Sterling. Absolutely hilarious. I think Sugar's hilarious. Let's start there. He's absolutely hilarious. And I can understand where he's coming from, right? I mean, he is right. They are in a fight. But sometimes when athletes exchange messages, trying to give each other tips or whatnot, some of us want to try to sound like a genius. Of course, Sugar Sean O'Malley is going to punch because it's a fight. Of course, he's going to counter. He's done it all his fights. It's one of the things he's very good at. I think the way the nature it went, how Henry leaked it, kind of could have rubbed people the wrong way. If you look at it that way, where Henry was like, I told him to do this and this. I told him I'm a genius. I think Sean is like, you freaking dork. Of course I'm gonna punch. I'm gonna wear a cup too. And that's where you got that. But I think Sugar's on a roll right now. I think he is the hottest name in the UFC because the knockout he just did, Aljamain Sterling, and he's a very colorful athlete, and he's very outspoken. And I think a lot of people like that. And good video, Michael. Good video. Send that to me. I think it was hilarious how he just basically put Henry on blast. I can't believe Henry posted that leaked DM. You had something to do with that, Michael. You had something to do with it, right?
Yeah. So to give it a little bit of backstory, so just so you guys know, Demetrius can't see my setup right now, because we want to retain the highest video quality possible. So we're talking on the phone as we record in our each individual cameras, but I am right now sitting in Henry Cejudo's chair. His titles are behind me, so I am responsible a little bit for that. But to give it a little bit of backstory, so Henry comes in the studio. We usually tape on Mondays, and he's so excited. He runs in with his phone, and he's like, dude, you got to take a look at this. He pulls out his phone, and he's like, and you need to understand, he wanted me to film him immediately, so I don't even have the time to, register this information. Should I do it? Like, what is he even doing immediately? And that's why if you look at the footage, I'm just holding my camera handheld. It's not even on a tripod. And then he just starts reading off the DMs and so I do want to apologize a little bit to Aljo for leaking those, but I also do want to blame it on Henry because he was extremely excited and it did make for some good video. But no, I did want to ask you from your perspective, if you were Aljo, and we're going to talk a little bit more about Aljo later because you actually happened to meet up with him in Vegas. So what is your take on that as a fighter? If you were to reach out to someone and then have that leaked, just what are your thoughts on that, I guess?
So for me, I think it's all based on the athlete. I got DMs from athletes, one Conor McGregor back in 2000, I think it was 15, 16. It was actually after I beat Henry Cejudo, and we exchanged, some DMs, never displayed it or talked about it. But I think it's a form of privacy. For me, if I DM somebody and I'm it's kind of hush hush or whatever, I don't expect it to leak out. So I was laughing with Aljo because I said, I can't believe Henry Cejudo leaked those DMs. He goes, I don't. The fucking Henry. I'm not gonna lie to you. I kind of expected it from Henry. I expected that from him. But, then again, we're trying to share knowledge behind closed doors. So, for me, I was just laughing. I was shocked that Henry did it. But like you said, it was Henry so excited he did it. And you did your job of just recording it.
Yeah, and here's the second angle I wanted to ask you about too. So you play the video, Sean O'Malley sitting there. He doesn't really think Henry gave any specific advice, anything that was actually, the mystic triple C, so to speak. What is your take on that? Do you think Henry gave him good advice, or did he say pretty generic stuff from your vantage point as a fighter?
I mean, I didn't really look at the DMs to see exactly what Henry said, but I think what Sean's getting at is that Henry's trying to sound like the mystic triple C. That's what I'm getting at, right? And obviously it's solid advice. I mean, any advice from somebody who comes from that you respect and you have, you believe in their skill set, you always want to know what they think. Because even when I fought Adriano the second time, Henry goes, dude, don't kick him. Don't kick him. He's going to take you down. I was like, I don't give a shit. I'm going to kick him. Because it's just my style. I just go out there and fight. I don't really follow a strategic game plan. I just go out there and fight, and whatever happens, happens. I should be good enough to make adjustments during the fight to be able to overcome the mistakes I make. So for me, I think the advice that Henry gave him, it makes sense. But I agreed with Sugar Sean O'Malley. Of course he's going to punch. He's going to try to counter because you look at all Sugar Sean O'Malley's fights, that's what he does best. He's a great striker, great counter. He gets you overextended, catch your chin.
No, yeah, so DJ, one thing I wanted to ask you, though, okay, so Henry's obviously, I think he's doing his job getting under O'Malley's skin, but it's hard to believe that he's going to actually get that title shot. So who do you think of the guys that O'Malley is talking about? He's talked about Cheeto, there's Henry, there's Merab, there's an Aljo rematch. What do you think, in your opinion, is probably next and should be next for Sugar?
I think Sugar's in that Sugar lane. He's doing whatever he wants. I think he's the biggest star in that bantamweight division. So I think for him, he can dictate what's going to happen. I can visualize and I can foresee. I can see it right now in my mind, the mighty vision. I can see Sugar Sean O'Malley walking to the office, sitting down. He might have some proper 12 whiskey in front of him. I have no idea if he drinks that type of stuff. But he might have his sugar marijuana in front of him. He's going to take a hit and he goes, Dana, I don't know who I'm going to fight. Who do you think would be the best one? It could be Merab. It could be Cheeto. I mean, anybody he fights, anybody's going to tune in. So I don't think it matters who he fights because I believe he is a draw of in that division. So if I have to, who I would like to see him fight next, I would love to see him fight. Oh, I would love to see him fight Merab, because I believe Merab is on a win streak. He is on a win streak, and I think that gets looked way over nowadays. Like back in the past, if you got 3 or 4 5-fight win streak in a division, you're gonna get that next title shot. So I think I would love to see Merab get that opportunity to fight Sugar Sean O'Malley, get revenge for his buddy Aljamain Sterling. That's where I'm gonna leave it right there. I'm not gonna go all day. I know Sugar's talking about Ilia Topuria, those two fighting, but I don't want to go be a matchmaker. But I would love to see Merab get his opportunity to fight for a world title now that Aljamain Sterling is not the champion. I'm leaving it there. Don't ask me again, Michael, or me. You're gonna have problems.
Oh yeah, and I actually almost forgot to talk about this. You met Aljo in Vegas. Where did that?
That's right. Yeah. So it was funny. Me and the wife were going to the premium outlets in Las Vegas, and she was parking. And I saw him pulling up with his fiance, and we got out. We started chopping it up. And one thing for me is, I want every single athlete to ever step foot in a cage, ring, whatever it is. I want you guys to succeed, make as much money as possible. I am always on you guys' side. I am always for the athlete or the promoter. So when I saw Aljo, nothing but respect. We started chopping it up. We started talking about the fight. I said, dude, next time you fight, if I'm in Vegas visiting my dad, I'll love just to work with you, just to feel your energy, to feel your funk master, to see what made you successful, what made you a world champion. And he said vice versa. We talked about business. We talked about what he wants to do next. And the biggest thing we talked about was the grind of a champion. The grind of a champion. You guys don't know this, but Aljo, he got surgery on his neck. He's had surgery on his hand. He's had surgery on his shoulders, I believe. And every single time you get surgery, it takes a lot out of you. And as him being a champion, he fought Hiroshi Hudo. He did a quick turnaround and fought Sugar Sean O'Malley. He had no time to relax. That was one of the things that I hated about being an MMA champion, because once you win the world title, once you win, or even defended it, you go to the fucking press conference and they go, hey, what's going on, guys? John Morgan here for MMA Junkie. Great fight, great crowd. So what's next? It's like, I haven't got an opportunity to get back to the room, then hit it from behind with my wife. Give me an opportunity to get home and get some sex. Like, and that's the crazy thing. So me and him were talking about that, and he wanted to grind. And he was like, dude, I'm about to go on vacation. Like, I haven't had a vacation in, like, it's been back-to-back camps, back-to-back surgeries. Like, I have no opportunity to actually make to live. And for me, I understood where he's coming from, because in 2013, I fought John Dotson in Chicago. That was my first title defense. And then I was about to fight John Moraga. I believe it was in March. But then I had to pull out that fight because I get shoulder surgery. So I got shoulder surgery in, I believe it was March or April, rehabbed it, fought John Moraga in July, beat him there. And then in December, I turned around and I beat Joseph Benavidez. Now, nowadays, you would be lucky. I'm going to say it again. You would be lucky to see a world champion fight 3 times in a year and get surgery. You will never fucking see that nowadays. Never see that. So, like I said, we're a dying breed. But it was cool to chop it with Aljo. Nothing but love. Make sure you go follow Aljo on his YouTube channel. He's been grinding as well. But yeah, nothing but love at Aljo. We had a good conversation about business and athletes and surgery and taking time off and the championship grind. I mean, the only person who's doing that type of fighting is Alex Volkanovski and Israel Adesanya. Those are the guys who are the most active, I feel like, as a champion. But those guys aren't getting surgery, so they're still healthy, but they are on the grind right now. But
Volkanovski did just get surgery for what it's worth.
Hand surgery, right?
Hand or arm, I believe. But
yeah, so now he's got to fight 3 times in 1 year.
No, yeah, but to go off your point, it's not like he has a future fight scheduled, so maybe he'll end up taking some significant time off, which is not what Aljo did. He had to turn around right away. But
right a fucking way.
Yeah, but one follow up of you bring up so Merab, you think he should get the title shot, which is what you established. What do you make of this relationship with Aljo, that they're not actual brothers, which I'm sure they are, brothers in friendship. What do you make
They would never fight. Why? Because I know I know that you just know, and you know what? I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt, but when I met Aljamain Sterling, I know I can feel for him. He's not that. That's not in his character. Money doesn't rule all, right? Like, I think friendship goes a lot further with that man than money does. And I feel it's the same way with Merab, right? Like, I would never fight. Maybe Henry would do it, but like, now that me and Henry have like a friendship, I would never fight Henry. I just don't care to, right? Like, it's like me fighting, you know, my wife for a bag. You know, you hear people out there say it. People are waiting for the villain arc between me and Henry, but I would never fight Henry. I just have no interest to. Even they were to give me a big back because he's my friend, but you know, I didn't feel that type of energy from Aljamain Sterling, and I know he wants the best for Merab, because Merab hasn't had the opportunity to shine under the lights. He hasn't had gold wrapped around his waist, but Aljamain Sterling has. And when Aljamain Sterling had that gold wrapped around his waist, when you look behind Aljo, who did you see there backing him up? Merab. When Sugar Sean O'Malley stepped in the cage, who was there backing Aljo up? Merab. I think they do Sugar Sean O'Malley versus Merab for that, you know, that Thriller jacket. That's what I'm going to see. I want the Thriller jacket. I want gold-studded diamonds in it. The winner gets it and the belt.
But if what you're saying, but what I'm trying to get at is, if what you're saying is true, then do you think it is time for Aljo to sit back and, like you said, take that break, let Merab get the title shot, and then instead of, because he's saying he wants to get that rematch, that's his goal. Do you think he should accept, if UFC goes to him and offers him that immediate rematch, do you think he should do it even if that means Merab's going to have to wait another year when he's already had to wait?
I think Merab and him are going to have a conversation. That's a conversation that him and Merab should have. And I think they're both close enough to have that difficult conversation and go from there. I mean, that's what I would do. I mean, Aljo's 34 years old. I mean, he was still on vacation. So, and let's say, and here's the thing, there's nothing wrong being, you know, the Goro or the Minotauro. You probably don't play Mortal Kombat, but Minotauro and Goro will never be Shao Kahn or Shang Tsung, right? There's nothing wrong being number 2 if your best friend is number 1. You know what I mean? So right now, that's how I see with those two. Aljamain Sterling was Shao Kahn and Shang Tsung, and Merab was Goro and Minotauro or Kataro, whatever one you guys love. Why not reverse it? Why not Merab be Shao Kahn and Shang Tsung, and then Aljamain Sterling is the guy you fight before you fight, you know, Shang Tsung. So I don't see why not, but that's a conversation those two need to have.
No, and I agree with that. And for me personally, I'd like to see Merab get that title shot. It's likely going to be Cheeto for storyline, which complicates things even further. But no, we'll have to monitor it. We'll continue to. That's going to be a discussion. I feel like we're going to have a lot on this podcast, so we'll discuss it. But it was very cool to see you guys interact, especially after you saying that you beat his ass in MMA. So
I told him that straight up. I said, dude, you would get. I told my son, I said, Tyron, I would not let that fucker on my back. And Tyron goes, why? And I was like, he's gonna wrap those long, black, skinny ass legs around my waist in a triangle. And I said, the one thing you do that works out well for me, Aljo, is you cross distance. You come right in that wheelhouse of fighting the clinch, and I love fighting the clinch, but I have to watch out. I'm just a realist. I think there's something wrong with that being transparent. And I told him straight up. I said the only fight that appetized me was me fighting you. I was like, I told the matchmakers who won championship that. I said that's the only fight that I wanted to do. But now that you're not champion now, there's nothing that, you know, appeases me. So I feel I'm 37 years old. I'm very mature. I know what I bring to the table. I know my skill set, and I think it's okay to tell someone, I was like, hey, I think I'll beat you in the clinch. The only way to prove that I'm right is to fight him in the clinch. And if we were to fight in the clinch, and if I was to lose, I'm like, shit, you were better than I thought in the clinch. That's all it is. It's not talking shit. It's just me stating my opinion. And it might be factual. I just have to prove that fact. Same thing with Bradley Martin. Is that he thinks he could beat me in a grappling match. Well, he thinks he beat me in a street fight. Which street fight, we already went over that. It's totally fucking different. But in a grappling match, I believe I can beat him. Just because he's bigger doesn't mean he can beat me. Only way we can prove that is by grappling. That is it. No animosity. That is it. But we did just have some fights, you know, past weekend with the UFC Korean Zombie taking on Max Holloway. That was a banger. Would you say so, Michael? I mean, that was an absolute banger.
No, yeah. I mean, that's one thing that's weird about, I find kind of weird about UFC sometimes. Like, the pay-per-views have all this hype behind them, and then when it comes to a fight night, it's kind of hard to get that like promotional beast behind them. And it's like, dude, we're getting Korean Zombie versus Max Holloway in Singapore. I felt like that when, and to be fair, on both of us are on the West Coast, so that was, you know, a 5 a.m. main card for us, so that doesn't help things. But I was surprised more people weren't talking about it, and it absolutely lived up to the hype. So I was like, come on, more people got to get interested in this. Max Holloway, Korean Zombie. I've wanted to see that fight for years. Korean Zombie's a guy that I know personally, working with Henry Cejudo. I've interviewed him a couple times, and when I interviewed him last, this was well before the Holloway fight was made, and he was already like, yeah, I want to fight Max Holloway. I think he always knew, like, this is going to be the last fight of my career almost. I feel like if he won, if he won, he almost was going into it like, yeah, dude, I'm going to give all of it. But let's go to your reaction, because this went pretty viral. We talk about Mystic Triple C, but here's a little bit of a Mystic DJ.
Yeah, see, he knows he needs to make it a suck best. He's going to get dropped again. He's testing his chin, and that's just not a good way to do it. Max has got a chin. It's Matt's box. Oh, I told you! I fucking told you don't do that!
You saw it coming right away, start of the second round. You're like, third round. Like, what is going on? Why is Zombie just coming out swinging? What do you think the reason was that Zombie came out like that third round? And why did you know, like, this dude's about to get dropped again?
Well, I mean, you back to the second round. He already got dropped once, right? I mean, Korean Zombie, that's where he got that name from. For people out there who don't know Korean Zombie from WEC days, me and him actually fought in the same card, WEC 48, where I fought Brad Pickett. And that's just his style. He comes forward, his hands down, taking lots of shots, giving lots of shots. Typically, his opponents fold under pressure. Now, when you fight a guy like Max Holloway, the greatest boxer in the UFC, he's going to land those clean shots. He's going to be in a position to counter perfectly. And you saw him get dropped already in the second round. And then all of a sudden, the third round, he's like, fuck it. I'm going under my shield. I'm making a slugfest. And that's what essentially happened. He came forward throwing all those shots. Max is an athlete. If you bring fire to Max is going to bring the fire right back to you. And when he did that, he was throwing his shots, overextending, leaning out of his comfort zone, the body's comfort zone, to be able to reciprocate energy. And once he did that, Max was in a good position. You go back and watch the replay that we just did. The overhand right landed perfectly clean, and they were exchanging, because the shot that Korean Zombie landed when he got knocked out, it actually landed against Max. But Max was in a better position to reciprocate that energy. Now, if Max's chin was out and he was out of balance and he was overextended, he would have got knocked. He probably would have got dropped too. But Max Holloway, the blessed train, never gets dropped. I mean, this man's probably absorbed so many punches in the UFC. I don't ever think he's ever been dropped whatsoever. So that's what happened, Michael. I mean, when you go against Max, you have to be a clean boxer and mix it up. You know, the first round, it was pretty much a boxing match. They threw a couple kicks. Second round, Max dropped him, so there was a little grappling exchange, the Darce or the Anaconda. Then he went to the knee ride. And then after that, the third round, it went back to a straight boxing match where Korean Zombie got dropped. And I think he just said, fuck it. You know, I'm down two fights. We're just going to try to do our best to, you know, go out on our shield, give the fans what they want to see, which is an exciting fight. And he went down in the shield. I mean, I was like, I told you, what'd you think was going to happen? I love that because I told him, like, he can hear me through the TV, which he can hear me through the TV, right? It's like, I told you, Korean Zombie. And my wife was like, you know he can't fucking hear you, right, babe? You know that, right? So it was an amazing fight. And, you know, Korean Zombie going off in retirement, I think it's the best thing he could do. I mean, he's been fighting for a very, very, very long time. Like I said, WEC, never die. And he fought Jose Aldo. He fought Leonard Garcia. He fought Yair Rodriguez. I mean, the list just goes on of who's who he's fought in WEC and the UFC. So I think this is fitting. He did 2 years of military service. A lot of people didn't know that. So, but what I've been told is that if you are Korean and you live in Korea, you have to do a mandatory 2-year service in the military. So he took 2 years off of his career to go do his military services. And that's something that kind of eats at an athlete's career, because at the end of the day, we're only getting older. And I always say we're a ticking time bomb. There's going to be a point in time where your body's like, dude, we're done. Like, I can't, my chest's not as strong. My cardio isn't the same. My body doesn't recover as much when we fight. So he lost 2 years of his life as an athlete. And he had even a long layoff prior to this Max fight, I believe. Because prior to this fight, he lost to Yair Rodriguez, correct, Michael?
You're saying Zombie?
Yeah, I feel like he lost to Yair Rodriguez.
No. So it was Volkanovski. So it was.
Oh,
it was
that's right.
18 months. 18 months that he was taken off since, and that was, which once again I got to see a lot of that camp, and Henry working with Zombie, and talking to Henry, he kind of said the most thing that he was looking for with Zombie was adjusting his stance a little bit, and being a little bit more technical. That was the thing he didn't like in the Volkanovski fight, was his striking defense. He kind of was just standing there, and it's so, we call him Zombie for a reason, and we forget that sometimes. Like, the dude, you can't, and that's what I love about him, is you cannot change this dude. Like, he wants to put on a show. He wants to just run at you. I don't think even a Henry Cejudo or Eddie Cha, who's also an awesome guy, he's here in Phoenix at Fight Ready. It's not on them. You cannot change Koreans, and that's what makes him loved and one of the most popular fighters in UFC history. It's not because of his record, or he never did win a title in WEC or UFC. It's really just because of that style. So how much can you tell this guy now, let's do something different, let's completely change the way you fight, when he's probably thinking no, I just want to go out there and have fun, And I thought it was the absolute perfect way to end his career. Even if he got knocked out, that's Zombie. The way he went after that fight, you being what are you doing? How could you ever be doing that? It's because, dude, this guy's the Korean Zombie. That's how he knows fighting, and he's going to do that until his last fight. So I do respect that about him.
Yeah, that's always nothing but respect for Korean Zombie and all the athletes. And you're right. I mean, that's where he got his name, Korean Zombie. Ever since he jumped on this scene in WC, that's how he fought. He's never changed. And it's kind of crazy to think he fought Yair Rodriguez, got knocked out. Then he fought Alex Volkanovski. Is that correct? Is that what you're seeing on his Wikipedia page about his fights? So he went from Yair to Alex, and then to Max Holloway.
Yeah. So let me pull that up, because no, he did. I know he knocked out Moicano, and so what I'm looking at right now, just pulling up Sherdog. So Yair was a while back, so you're missing. So I want to say this too. Last week, people just shit on us so bad about.
I love it. I love it.
That's why everyone just showed. I got the MacBook out here, because last week everyone's no, you guys you guys forgot a bunch of stuff with the bantamweight, because you were trying to go through the bantamweight history, and they're just DJ missed all these fights. So looking at it now, so yeah, he had that crazy knockout loss to Yair Rodriguez. But then he knocked out Renato Moicano, who's really actually turning out to. I love him. Go follow him on YouTube.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I remember him. He's when he goes, "I want my fucking money."
Yeah, exactly. No, ton of charisma. He's grinding on YouTube. I always respect guys that do that. Then Frankie Edgar, he knocked out. That was amazing. I believe that was in Korea. Then he lost to Ortega. Then he beat Ige, and this is where it's interesting, because you'd think he didn't do enough at that point to earn a title shot, but why he got that Volkanovski title shot was because he filled in last second. I forgot.
That's what it was.
Yeah, it might have been Max Holloway. Someone couldn't fight Volk, and so then Zombie filled in. They wanted that name recognition, and I don't think he was ready for it, and it certainly looked that way when the fight happened. So that's how he got the title shot, and then of course Max Holloway. So that's and he's the same age as you too, just for what it's worth. So I think you do have some good perspective on this.
Yeah, 37, and it's not like he's never fought. I mean, he's fought for the title multiple times, because he fought Jose Aldo for the title, right? And then he fought Volkanovski for the title. And that's the crazy thing, is that I totally forgot that he knocked out Frankie Edgar and the other gentlemen's too, between the time span of everything that just happened, right? You go from, you always see the replay of Yair Rodriguez hitting with that back elbow, and then other than that, you see all his other highlights, but you don't really see, you know, a lot of things that Korean Zombie did leading up to the point where Max and him fought. So my apologies, fans, and all the all the people out there. I forgot, you guys know way more than I do, which you guys probably do, but you guys don't have 15 world titles like my black ass does. But moving on, what does Max Holloway do next? I think if Alex Volkanovski never existed in the UFC, I think Max Holloway would be the world champion at featherweight. But unfortunately, you do have a guy like Alex Volkanovski who's beat Max Holloway 3 times. So I think, you know, Max sits in the wing and see what happens between Ilia and Alex. I think that's going to be an amazing fight. And then I think if Ilia can beat Alex, and I think that gives Max Holloway the opportunity to fight for the featherweight champion. Unless they do, you know, Max versus Volkanovski 4. But I think by that time, I think Volkanovski is going to go up to 155 and just fight against Islam Makhachev and then maybe even retire. Because right now, if I had to give it, you know, who's the most well-rounded champions in the UFC, it'll probably be Alex Volkanovski. Every single time that guy shows up, he always impresses me. He's always fast. His intelligence level's getting up there. He's well-rounded. He's an athlete. And the one thing that always blows my mind is how the fuck does he outstrike everybody? He outstruck, you know, he outstruck Max Holloway, and Max Holloway is probably what, 4 inches taller than him, 5 inches taller than him, and he's always outstriking everybody. He outstruck Yair Rodriguez, another athlete who is also taller than him. So his distance control and his management is just off the charts. Talk about IQ. Like, I'm always impressed when he fights. But that's why I think what's next for Max. I think he sits there, he waits. I don't see anybody else out there in the featherweight division that can give him a run for his money. And I mean, the crazy thing is that Max Holloway is only 31 years old. 31 years old. And you look at his record, he's been fighting, like, I have 6 years on him, and he's done way more fights than I have. I like, someone goes, oh, he's only 31 years old, Demetrious. I'm like, he's fucking young. He's just in his prime as a man. But that's what I got for Max. I think Max sits there, waits, see what happens to Alex and Ilia if that's the next matchup in the featherweight division, and see where he goes from there. Take some time off, relax, go surfing, hang out with your wife, hang out with Rush, and see what's next. I mean,
And we'll transition off this topic, but just one follow-up I wanted to give. It is pretty wild that Volkanovski has a 2.5-inch reach advantage on Max Holloway. So I did. Yeah, it's nuts. He has super long arms for his. So a height advantage is 5'11" versus, let's see, 5'11" versus 5'6". I mean, that's crazy.
5'6".
That's wild. And he has a 2.5-inch. He's like an NBA player or something.
So he's got long ass arms. Just saying.
Yeah. So that's, I will say, so that's interesting, but yeah.
Well, yeah.
No,
I don't know what to say there.
You're 5'3". What? Let's see what I want to see what they list your reach at for the. You're only
I got that
Michael
Jordan wingspan, dog. I got that Michael Jordan wingspan.
Yeah. So just to give comparison, you're 3 inches. 3 inches short. Oh, yeah, your wingspan's not like too bad. 66-inch reach. So yeah, but
thanks, Coach. Thanks.
So yeah, so I mean that's only. So does Max Holloway have short arms things? That's only.
Are you saying Max Holloway has T-Rex arms? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, because you would only. It's a similar difference. Like Volkanovski to Holloway is a similar difference in arm length to you and Holloway. Like I feel like that's pretty wild.
Well. It is what it is. As Max would say, it is what it is. Okay, enough about Max and Korean Zombie and Alex Volkanovski. First off, shout out to Korean Zombie. I hope you enjoy retirement. I think that's something that all us athletes are going to have to come to terms to one day, is walking into the sunset with your health. That's the main important thing, your mind and your family and your children. So you had an amazing career. We appreciate you, and we are grateful to be able to witness your interpretation of a zombie in mixed martial arts. So thank you so much. As I say in Korean, kanyahaseyo, which means have a good time or goodbye. All right, moving on. Like I said before, last week on the MIGHTYcast, we didn't just talk about the UFC. We talk about everything. White Championship does have a banger. Every Friday night, they do one fight night in Lupini Stadium. So if you guys are trying to watch that, free fights, it ranges from mostly just Muay Thai, but you can watch it on One Championship's app, which is the One Super app. Go download it on your App Store or your Android. But every once in a while, you have an athlete go off and do his own thing. And the athlete I'm talking about is Jorge Masvidal, a.k.a. Street Jesus in Miami, or Game Bred Fighting. He has a card coming up, I believe this is September, and this one's going to blow you guys' mind. You have Junior Dos Santos fighting Fabricio Verdum in a mixed martial arts bare knuckle fight. Now, my first reaction to hearing this news was, what the fuck? You have these guys, Junior Dos Santos and Fabricio Verdum, were both champions in the heavyweight division in the UFC. You also have Fabricio Verdum, who also submitted Fedor Emelianenko in Strikeforce. He was also a champion in Strikeforce. I don't know what these guys, or man, I don't even know where to start with this fight. I just see, you have bare knuckle fighting, and you guys know my opinion on that. I think it's absolutely dangerous. People get cut up, and I'm shocked that people don't break their hands more often. But now you're going to have a full-blown mixed martial arts fight that's going to be bare knuckle against Fabricio Verdum versus Junior Dos Santos. Yeah, I guess just tune in. It's going to be a fucking banger.
No, I mean, and I don't even have to. I'm asking you right now because we're on camera and other people don't know, but I know from our conversations, you would, even if you got a bag, you would never do bare knuckle,
I
right?
would never do. No, I broke on my hands multiple times. I just wouldn't do it. I just don't. One, my face is pretty. I have no cuts. My skin is almost immaculate. I have a great skincare routine. And each time I see those guys who do bare knuckle fighting, I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, they get cut. Like, after the first exchange, when I saw it in Colorado, after every exchange, there was a cut. There was a cut every single time. And I just don't want to do that. Granted, this is bare knuckle MMA. But for me, I'm like, why not just throw the gloves on? But I think it appeals to more people to not have the gloves. For me, I'm just like, you guys are crazy. And it's almost like you have two guys who have been world champion caliber that are still in great shape. I follow both of them on Instagram, and they're in both great shape. They're both continuing to train, and now they're about to fight each other in bare knuckle MMA. I think it's smart for people to start bringing bare knuckle fighting in, because I feel like now in 2023 it's more acceptable. To where back in the day, if this was back in the 90s, well, this is human cockfighting, which is what they called, the UFC back in the day. But now in 2023, it's more accepted. You have slap fighting, you have bare knuckle boxing, and now we're having bare knuckle fighting. Where bare knuckle fighting, it actually has a good following. I think athletes and people are trying to capitalize on bare knuckle mixed martial arts to see what it can do. So I'm excited. I always like to support the other athletes who are trying to go on new business adventures. And I think with Game Break giving these guys the opportunity to explore bare knuckle MMA, the fans are always going to win. The fans are always going to win, especially when you have two athletes like that fighting. I don't know who else is on their card, but I'm sure it's, a stacked card. But when I saw that, I was like, wow, that's coming up, and that's going to be an interesting fight. Like, bare knuckle MMA, Fabricio Verdum versus Junior Dos Santos. I mean, who else on their card? Any other, noticeable guys, big stars on their card? I don't have that fight card pulled up in front of me.
I'm not sure about the card, but one follow-up I did want to have is because I'm with you that I'm not crazy about bare knuckle, and I'm certainly not totally convinced of it either. But the most interesting aspect, if I could say one interesting aspect, is I do love seeing someone like Mike Perry, who he was obviously pretty. He was solidly, he was definitely a star in UFC, but nothing huge. And for a lot of the wrong reasons at times too. But in bare knuckle, it's not just that it's made him a star. The more interesting aspect I found is he's Mike Perry, you take him out of MMA and you put him in bare knuckle, he's really, really good at bare knuckle. There is something different about it, something unique skill set wise. Because like, dude, I would take him against anyone in a bare knuckle fight. Like he's like Mike Tyson in a bare, like he's beating Luke. If Luke Rockhold fought Mike Perry in the UFC, like what do you think would happen? Probably Luke Rockhold, right? But Luke Rockhold has no chance against Mike Perry in bare knuckle. I find that pretty fascinating.
Yeah, I think Mike Perry has found his calling, right? Like everybody says he is a modern day gladiator. That man belongs. If he was in, the Roman times where they had Caesar and the gladiator days in, Rome, he would survive where the rest of us athletes would probably perish. He just loves and breathes this that type of style. And I think he's able to absorb the damage and be able to dish it out. And I think when they made that matchup, I was like, Luke Rockhold gave away his greatest weapons, which was his kicks. So if that fight was to happen in the UFC, you would have seen Luke Rockhold use his grappling. You would see him use his kicks, his high kick, his question mark kick, and he probably would have came away from the fight. So a perfect example, if Donald Cerrone were to fight Mike Perry in bare knuckle fighting, I would give the fight to probably Mike Perry because he's just a fucking dog. Where in the UFC, Donald Cerrone ended up beating Mike Perry because he got him in an armbar. So yeah, there is something to be said different. It's a different skill set or different type of skill to have when you go into mixed martial arts, into bare knuckle. But now it's going to be bare knuckle mixed martial arts. So I'm going to tune in. I don't know how you guys can tune in back at home, but I thought that was something that was interesting that I think you guys should know, that bare knuckle fighting, game bred, Junior Santos versus Fabricio Verdum, it should be a dope fight.
Oh yeah, and I'd also be remiss. I totally forgot about your boy Dodson. What do you think about him? He's killing it too.
That's another one. Like he became the bare knuckle champion, and I feel it's great for Dodson to be able to get on a win streak. And the beautiful thing about what Dodson's doing is that he's not just doing bare knuckle. He's also fighting in Ryzen, right? Like every once in a while, you get these athletes who were locked under a contract for a very, very long time. One like John Dodson, he was in the UFC. Me and him fought 2 times. And now he's out of the UFC. Now he's running around the world doing his thing. He's doing bare knuckle fighting. He's also doing Ryzen. I believe he's undefeated in Ryzen. I believe he's trying to get a matchup with Kyoji Horiguchi, which he was about to fight for the Bellator or the Ryzen. I think it was Bellator 125-pound strap. But he's a guy who's being successful outside of the UFC, and he's doing both. He's doing bare knuckle fighting, just became a champion there, and now he is doing Ryzen. And yeah, I'm happy for him, right? Like I've always said, he's been a very great athlete. Sometimes people need to get away from their main promotion to be able to shine, and that's what he's doing right now. He's shining. So shout out to John Dodson. I hope you're doing well, brother. I hope you and your family are having a wonderful time, and I hope you're listening, man. If you are, leave a comment. We'd love to have you on here one day just to get his experience of being a world title challenger, being under the UFC umbrella, and now doing his thing with bare knuckle fighting and Ryzen. So that's one of the things we want to have on this podcast, guys, is we want to bring athletes on here, talk to them, and just get the perspective of their perspective of their career and why they chose to do certain things. Because everybody asks me all the time, why did I leave the UFC? And I tell them it was the best thing to happen to me, because that's where I was able to go out there and experience Muay Thai against one of the greatest Muay Thai fighters out there, against Tate. I have the opportunity potentially to grapple somebody. I'm about to go do IBJJF Worlds this Thursday. So that's one of the things that me and Michael really want to bring to this podcast, is different athletes and different people. I want to get Ariel Helwani on here. I always have a lot of questions for him. I don't know how he knows about every single fucking fight that's ever happened in the human history. But yeah, bring it back to full context. Shout out to John Dodson. Make sure you check out that Fabricio Verdum versus Junior Dos Santos. What else happened this weekend? Did we even say anything else?
I wanted to transition to what you brought up. So one thing that people kind of don't realize behind the scenes, but Demetrious is working really hard at that jiu-jitsu game, and right now you're not even training at MMA. I tell this guy, like Henry and I were a couple months ago talking about, maybe we'll go to Seattle and train with Demetrious a little bit, and then you're just like, well, I ain't training MMA.
Yeah,
it's like even if Henry comes there, it's like, nope, I'm not training MMA. So talk a little bit about you competing in jiu-jitsu now for the first time, and why has it become such a passion for you lately?
Well, the thing is, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go back to my friend Henry Cejudo. Each time I've gone to Arizona, we always train in mixed martial arts. Always MMA, always MMA, always MMA. It's the same thing, which is not bad, but I feel for me, I get bored. I always get bored. And so for me, jiu-jitsu has became my new passion. It's my new love. In the gi, no gi's different. Like, no gi, my athletic ability shines. But in the gi, I stepped into it because it takes away my greatest asset, which is my movement and my athletic ability. And just the complexity that the gi brings to the table, it's just mind-blowing. Like, if you guys ever get the opportunity to do jiu-jitsu in the gi, I would highly recommend you do it, because it's going to open your mind to so many different possibilities. Worm guard, spider guard, half X, reverse deli hiba, Berlin burlos. I mean, the list just goes on, the shit you can do inside the gi and the problems it brings to you. So the way I would put it for my gamers out there, you can either play Street Fighter. No gi is Street Fighter modern controllers. Street Fighter in classic controllers is the gi. You have to put way more effort, and you have to think more of the things you can do. So right now I'm in Las Vegas. That's why my backdrop is different. I'm here in Las Vegas at my dad's house. We just had a family reunion. And this Thursday, I'm competing in my very first tournament in IBJJF as a brown belt master 2. I'm super excited. It's something, I feel like this is where my martial arts journey has taken me, right? Like, I've done everything in the UFC. 6 years as a champion, 11 consecutive title defenses. I've been a white championship. I fought Rod Tang in a super fight. I beat one of the longest reigning champions in white championship, which was Adrian Moraes. Before him, it's Bibiano Fernandez. I beat Adriano. We had a trilogy, beat him twice. And after that fight at Adriano, I was like, man, there's something I want to go do. I've always wanted to do, I want to just grapple. Like, I just want to do jiu-jitsu. And my son does it. In mixed martial arts, I feel like training MMA, it's a very selfish sport. What I mean by that is that my kids can't do MMA. I'm away from my kids. The drive to my gym is an hour and 15 minutes. So it's a 2.5 hour commitment away from my family, just in driving, not actual training. So 2.5 hours is gone from driving. And then you have 2 hours gone from training away from the family. So that's 4.5 hours, 65 hours gone out of my day away from my family. My new gym that I train at Grapple Club is 8 minutes from my house. My kid's there. My wife comes there. So I'm not away from my family, right? And down here in Las Vegas, I've been training at America Top Team Las Vegas under Alex Davis, which he is a dying breed. That's one thing I want to try to hit on with you guys, even though you guys didn't ask about it, but I think it'd be something you guys need to hear. But training there, my wife, she came and watched me grapple with him and his other professor, Hidden, which he's another amazing athlete. And she was watching me grapple. And she goes, wow, like, I haven't seen you smiled like that in a very, very long time. And I was like, what do you mean? She goes, I can tell you found your new passion, your new calling. Like, what jiu-jitsu has done for you and our family has been nothing but extraordinary. Like, you're smiling, you're laughing, you're having a good time. Like, this is the smile and the look I saw in your face when you first jumped into mixed martial arts. So, yes, guys, tune in. IBJJF. I believe you can watch it on Flow Grappling, but I will be dropping my experience. I have somebody come out here to film me. We'll do a video. Hopefully, Michael will be so kind to edit it for us. But it's going to be dope time. A very, very dope time. But yeah, when Henry comes up here, I'm not training MMA with him. We're going to do... If he asks me to train MMA, I will to help him get ready for a fight. But I don't see any reason for me to get punched in the face right now. There's no reason to. And I want to excel in my gi game. That's where my main focus is. I'm not saying I'm done with mixed martial arts, but right now, what's giving me a hard on or keeping me hard is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, so if you want to just plug that one more time, so people know, and anyone who's in Vegas, and like you said, I know you're not entirely sure how people can watch, but what? So can you give the days again and the arena and all that stuff?
I believe it's a Las Vegas Convention Center, and I believe you can watch it on Flow Grappling. I could be wrong, guys. This is my first tournament. This is my first tournament since I've been 18 years old. So this is something. I'm doing something totally out of the fucking box. That's why it's exciting. Like, I have butterflies. I'm nervous. I can't wait to go out there and compete and see what's going to happen, right? And that's what I think keeps me unique, different. So, yeah, it's going to be dope time. Make sure you guys tune in. And I'll have a breakdown of how my matches go after everything's done and said. But one of the things I wanted to hit on, too, you hear a lot of things about managers. Have you been seeing some of the stuff that, I think Sean O'Malley was talking about managers in mixed martial arts today. One of the things I'm going to say is that there is a dying breed of managers. And what I mean by that is that Matt Hume is a manager of mine. He manages me. Mostly when I was in the UFC, you have a guy like Alex Davis who manages most of the Brazilians. Edson Barboza, John Lineker, the list just goes on. You have Andre Pederneiras. He is a manager / a trainer. What I'm getting at is that, for me, I've been in the game for a very, very long time. And I love when I see a manager who can fucking fight. Like, legit fight. Because he's done it, right? Matt Hume used to fight at Extreme Cage Battle. He fought Eric Paulson. He fought Pat Miletich. You look at Alex Davis, your judo background. He fought back in the day. You looked at Andre Pederneiras. He also fought back in the day. Like, those guys who manage people who used to legit fight back in the day, that is a fucking dying breed. And I love training with Alex Davis here at American Top Team because, we're training together. He's trying to throw me. He's teaching me judo trips. He's a true martial artist. It's very often you don't get managers nowadays who are true martial artists. Now, I don't know every single manager under the sun, and I'm not throwing shade on those guys, but I feel like the cycle of that dying breed was those guys spot professionally. They went through the grind, basically laid the path for me, Henry, all us other athletes to fight, and then now that their career is done, they become managers. They become managers, and they look after my generation, right? Now, the cycle is that when I retire, I go off and I start managing fighters and guide them through their career, but I'm not going to do that. My time is way too valuable, and I want to be able to spend it with my wife and kids and create content and do YouTube and play video games. So that's why I'm saying it's a dying breed. Is Alex Volkanovski, is Israel Adesanya going to be a manager? Is Jose Aldo going to be a manager? Most likely not. So that's why I'm saying it's a dying breed, that if you guys, had to pick a manager out there, pick somebody who's done it, who's fought before, because they have a side to them that they know what you're going through, if that makes sense. Or, people will say, no, you're fucking stupid, DJ. You should get a manager who's ever fought before because they know the business side. But for me, it was a real special treat that really hit me while I was training with Alex Davis. And I've seen him manage guys. I've been in the same. I fought his guys before I fought Adriano, who's managing him. And to be able to share the mat with him and train, I don't know. I just told him, I was like, dude, you're a dying breed. And he goes, what do you mean? I was like, you fought before, you're a high-level judo player, and you manage athletes. Like, the cycle of that is that I'm supposed to manage athletes after this because I'm a high-level fighter. I've done it all, and I have no interest in managing fighters. So that's a dying breed. I know that was a little tangent rant.
Yeah, so I'm gonna challenge you on a little bit of this. So, what's the most thing that you're looking for in a manager? Because I think that will help us understand a little bit. Are you looking for the most money, or are you looking for more of like the right direction, the right opponents, that kind of thing? What's your thought?
Well, so for me, I didn't really care about my opponent. That's one thing I didn't care. Like, the UFC was sent a contract. The only time people were like, oh, that's a lie, that's a lie. Honestly, when the UFC sent the contract to fight TJ Dillashaw, there were some demands that we wanted in there that they weren't able to see eye to eye. One of the demands, ladies and gentlemen, was that I knew TJ Dillashaw could not make 125 healthy. I fucking knew that. Me and Matt Hume, we knew that. So in the contract, we demanded that if TJ Dillashaw does not make 125, we fight for his belt at 135. They said, absolutely not. That can't happen. That was a reasonable demand, right? Because TJ Dillashaw was already looking like fucking Skeletor at 135. And then we knew if he came down to 125, he would look like a Holocaust patient. And you guys can go back and look at the pictures when he fought Henry Cejudo. And then he popped for EPO, doping. So we threw that in our demand. So, but going through my career, we didn't care who we fought. You know, we fought John Dodson twice. We fought Chris Carriazo. We fought everybody in the flyweight division. And then when it comes to picking the right opponent, we just never cared about that. Looking for the right direction, it's very difficult, right? Because for me, you know, where I'm at now in my career, it's like when it comes to mixed martial arts, I think that's kind of different. When it comes to managing outside of fights, that's a different story. You know, I have a management team, 100 managed, ran by Luke Mitzman. Absolutely amazing. He's also a jiu-jitsu enthusiast. Me and Vibe, there's a good chemistry there. I think chemistry is the main thing. And I'm still managed by First Round Management, where they handle mixed martial arts appearances and all that other stuff. We have a good chemistry. I mean, I think it's mostly about chemistry, and yeah, for me, it's chemistry. Like all my management, we don't have contracts. We have a word and a handshake, and I believe that's all a man has in this world is his word and handshake. And that's it is for me. Everybody else, they're different. People are shady. I'm pretty much transparent, straightforward. This is what I want, and I tell my management team, any deal I do, before I go into it, I ask everybody, I was like, what do you want from me? What is it you want from my brand? What do you want from the Mighty Gaming or the Mighty brand? And then if our values seem aligned, then we work together. So that's what I do. But for me, I'm not going to speak for everybody else out there. Just when you're looking for management, just make sure you feel okay and you think there's chemistry there and you trust them. That's all I can say.
Yeah, and not to stick on this topic forever, but I do think you're talking about two separate things. I think more specifically of what O'Malley's talking about. When you sign that contract, there's only one manager or management team that is eating some of that fight contract. 'Cause what you're mentioning, the appearances, all that stuff, they're not going to touch if you sign a one championship contract. So, but you're still saying that manager, so a UFC fighter, they go to UFC, they have the, whatever it is, the 10 to 20% is taken out of their contract to go to that manager. You still think it's important for that manager to have fighting experience?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it's just dope, right? I think it's just dope. That's just my personal opinion, right? And my opinion, people may not agree with me, but for me, I think it's great because Matt Hume, I've had a manager like Matt Hume. He understands the game. He's been there. He's fought. He's bled. He's actually bled, sweat, and cried as a fighter. I can't say the same thing about Malky or Abe. I love those guys dearly, but they've never done that. You look at Alex Davis. He's done that. He's bled. He's sweat, and he's cried in fighting. And now he's managing guys. The list can go on. You know, I think Anthony Pettis was a manager at one point, managing fighters. I don't know if he still is, but he's done that. So I'm just saying it's just a dying breed. That's where this whole conversation went to. Like when I was training with Alex Davis, I was like, man, you're a dying breed. And he was like, man, you should manage fighters. I was like, absolutely not. I see what you go through. I see what you go through. I see what Matt goes through. So that's something I don't want to have to go through. And plus, my time is valuable. I spend enough time with my family and kids training for these fights. Last thing I want to do is take more time away from them training other athletes for their fights and managing them, traveling around the world, doing all that stuff. So, you know, I think it was just an interesting conversation and something that just came through my mind when I'm out here in Vegas. And I heard Sugar Sean O'Malley said, and I agree with, you know, everybody has a personal opinion, you know. If Sean, you know, nowadays you've seen a lot of athletes do their own contract. I remember when I was talking to Joseph Benavidez, before he retired, he was doing his own contracts. He was like, I know what I want. This is what I want. Me and the UFC have a good relationship. This is what they gave me. I'm happy with it. Boom. So there was no management. So he didn't lose 20%, right? So I think what Sugar Sean O'Malley's getting at is that, hey, if you have a good relationship with the matchmaker and you can, lobby for, hey, I want $200,000. Will you give it to me? Yeah, we'll give it to you. Boom. 20% is not cut off. But if you have a management team going there and say, hey, we want to get $200,000, granted, they're going to try to get the most money as possible because they eat what they kill, right? They're going to eat what they kill. So they're going to try to get the most money as possible, but they're going to take 20% of it. But if you go in there and you want $500,000 and you can get it from the promoter and you do get it, congratulations. You just saved 20%. But if you feel that your management team can get more money than you can, then hire. That's what I think Sugar was doing. I think Sugar was saying that, if you can lobby and you think you can take care of yourself and you don't want to give away 20%, boom, go ahead, do it. But if you don't want to have that hassle and you don't think you can get the most money and you can't argue or whatever, then have a lawyer. So, but I think those guys are dying breed. That's my personal opinion.
No, it's a fair perspective. We obviously are not the ones looking at those contracts, and they're not public like they are with like the NBA and the MLB and NFL. So, we from the outside looking in, we have absolutely no idea what goes into those contracts, what goes into the negotiations. But I feel like you're maybe the first person I've heard have that perspective. So no, I just found it interesting because when you're an outside looking in, you're just like, I want to get paid. You know what I mean? Like if I'm a fan, I'm just like, dude, I don't care if you have fighting experience. I just want to get paid. But you do make I could see from your perspective, and not to say that it is the same in other sports. There are NBA agents that are former players. So I could see what you're saying.
Yeah. So I don't know. I thought it was a cool conversation to have, and just it's kind of been out there. And I talked to Alex about it, and my manager Matt Hume, he was a fighter. Then Alex Davis, he's a fighter. He used to train back in the day. So I thought it was kind of cool. But ladies and gentlemen, I think we've covered everything you guys want to hear about. If there's something that we missed, please leave a comment down in the section below, because me or Michael, if Michael writes, it's from Henry Cejudo. That's, if you see Henry chatting, that's Michael writing. But we appreciate you guys so much for tuning into the MIGHTYcast episode 2. We might take next weekend off because I'm competing on Thursday, and then Tyron competes on Saturday. So we will see. We'll try to see if we can film on Sunday. We got a lot of stuff going on. But once again, make sure you like, subscribe, leave a comment. Michael, I appreciate you once again. Hey, and ladies and gentlemen, Michael is single. So if you guys have any hot-ass friends, chicks, please send pictures of him in a Discord. We would love to get Michael a date. He's currently in Arizona. Michael, anything you want to tell the beautiful people?
No, yeah, I mean, I wanted to end the show on something that a little bit of a sour note, so it's a little bit hard of a transition, but I did want to talk a little bit, and I talked with Demetrious about this off camera, but the passing of Wyndham Rotunda, Bray Wyatt. This is obviously an MMA podcast, but I did kind of want to just talk about, because it was something that was just a shocking death to a lot of people, and there is this crossover that people don't like to believe, but there's a crossover between MMA and pro wrestling. You'll see a lot of fans like both. You'll see a lot of MMA fighters inspired by pro wrestling. I know your kid. I don't know if your other son likes wrestling, but I know Maverick, your son, he's a wrestling fan. But no, I just wanted to say, seeing Bray Wyatt pass away, it was just so weird, because I'm a huge NBA fan too. When Kobe passed away, it was absolutely stunning. And that impacted me deeply as well. But anyone who's I don't know if you were a pro wrestling fan, Demetrious, growing up, but
I was.
No, so maybe you'll understand it better, but I've been spending all week trying to explain to my good friends who do not understand pro wrestling at all, and they can't fathom, like, dude, how is this hitting you like so hard? Like, why is like I just don't get it. And I'll send them promos of Bray Wyatt and some of his best moments, and they just don't get it. And it really is something about the art form of professional wrestling that you just feel such a connection with these guys. And I've met enough wrestlers in the past that they'll try to act like, oh, I'm not my character, but there's so much in them that is their character. So you feel like these guys watching them on TV every week. So there was just something about Bray Wyatt that when I stopped watching wrestling for about 10 years, I'd say from about 2004 to 2014, because once I got older, it's like, yeah, you got to start worrying about, girls, and, I got into sports, and so I kind of stopped right, I'd say 1997, 2004 is when I stopped. Then all of a sudden, my friend, 2014, there was a show in Chicago, a pay-per-view, and my brother and my friend were like, let's just go. We used to like wrestling. Like we weren't even thinking we're going to get back into it. We're like, let's just watch it. At that show, Bray Wyatt wrestled John Cena. It ended up being one of his best matches, and I had no idea who Bray Wyatt was. He comes out, and we do the whole Firefly thing, holding up our phones, and just I don't know what it was, but like something captivated me. I just thought the wrestlers were so much cooler when I was younger, but he just hooked me in, and from that point, 2014 until now, got me back into wrestling. He was and it was funny because I saw Ariel Helwani say the same thing. He tweeted that too, like, hey, Bray Wyatt actually got me back into wrestling. It's like, wow, to think that there's me, that was the case. My brother, my best friend who went with us to that show, Ariel Helwani, there was just some connection about Bray Wyatt, the way he talked, the charisma, the promos. Like, he didn't even wrestle. He wrestled like 3 times in the last 3 years. I literally think he only wrestled 3 times. But
wow,
yeah, there was something about him. So I just wanted to say my words for him. I'm R.I.P. to Wyndham Rotunda. It is such a void in the pro wrestling landscape that he's gone. There's never going to be anyone like him again. And like I said, you can't see my setup right now, Demetrious, but I got a WCW neon sign. It's something that I've always been a fan of, and I'll always have Bray Wyatt to thank for igniting that spark again. So I wanted to say that, and I know your boy Maverick, he took it pretty hard too. So what was it? What was it like for him when he got the news?
He was sad, man. Obviously my kids are a lot younger, so they haven't really experienced death in the family. Obviously my sister passed away a couple years ago, but they haven't experienced death. But we try to be very transparent with them that one of his favorite wrestlers, I believe his Bray Wyatt, his character was the Fiend, right? Like he would dress up in these like amazing characters, right?
Yeah, no, that's what made him so special. Is he had like so many different characters, and that was the most famous one. Yes.
So my son actually has that character, and I was like, dude, that guy looks dope. It reminds me of Slipknot, like the heavy metal band, and he took it pretty hard. He was very sad, and I told him, I was like, Bray Wyatt was younger, but he was 36 years old, and to see a beautiful soul like that be taken away from us at such a young age, and he's touched so many people's lives, especially my son. So nothing but respect, and I wish him and his family their condolences. And yeah, it's very sad. And wrestling, dude, even though this is an MMA podcast, I'll be totally down talking about wrestling because I follow that shit because my children love it. Like, we go to Monday Night Raw each time it's in Seattle because, the art of it, the charisma, the storylines, like the Uso, the bloodline, Jimmy and Jey Uso, that right there, when he super kicked him, he's out. Like, dude, I'm totally down. And Cody Rhodes, Brock Lesnar. So dude, if you want to talk WWE, I will talk WWE because this podcast, yes, it's about mixed martial arts, but it's about the things that we're passionate about, right? Like, we're not just gonna, my number one passion is gaming. After that, it's gonna be martial arts. And then after that, it's gonna be, my wife and my kids, and obviously they're one. But what I'm getting at is that, Michael, if you want to talk about wrestling, I am totally down, dog. So we'll talk.
We also need to get some pro wrestlers on here at some point. Do some interviews. One guy, I don't know if you know who he is, but Kenny Omega. You'll just talk it off. Yeah, you'll talk off them all day about just a huge gamer. He'd probably beat your ass in Street Fighter. Like, he actually definitely would. No. You don't
probably
think so?
Tekken he would, because I was actually about to fight him, not in real life, but in a actual competition in gaming. I think it was Tekken because Bandai Namco was trying to set it up. I believe it was Tekken. But yeah, dude, Austin Creed, I worked with him before. I know he's a New Day, him and Big E, and those guys. Yeah, let's do it, dude. I'm sure we have the connections to make it happen. And I think the fans would love it. So fans, if there's a certain wrestler you guys want us to get them on the podcast, let us know, and we will do our best to make it happen. So leave a comment, and we will make sure to do that.
Wait, so you're saying, I just want to get this clear. You're saying right now you would beat Kenny Omega in Street Fighter, or you're saying you don't even want to go against him in Street Fighter?
No, I would fuck him up in Street Fighter 6.
What? Seriously?
I guarantee.
You think you'd beat
absolutely. I'll put money
put it
on
out there.
I'll
Put it out there right now. Cut a little promo for him.
I say Kenny Omega. People out there say you're one of the greatest at Street Fighter 6, but I'm putting $100 right now. Hell, shit, I'll put $1,000 on it. Street Fighter 6, me versus you. I guarantee I beat you. We can do 5 matches. Street Fighter 6, not modern controllers, classic controllers, or you can do modern if you want. But your $1,000, your boy Mighty right here beats you in Street Fighter 6. Balls in your court, Playboy.
What a way to end the show on. That's dude, I'm clipping that off. I'm tagging him, and we're gonna get this done because he's gonna be a little busy because as we tape, he's about to wrestle in front of 80,000, 90,000 fans at Wembley. But we'll get it out there.
Hey, well, that's your job. But I made the call out. We'll see what happens. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of MIGHTYcast episode 2. I am your host. I'm not your host. We are your hosts, Demetrious Johnson and Michael Wansover. We appreciate you guys tuning in, and make sure you guys like, subscribe, and tell your mom about the podcast because I'm sure she's gonna love to hear us. Oh yeah, and Michael needs a date for prom. We out, guys. Peace.